Memphis and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Scoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studio. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours and a lot to get into today. A lot of football. We've got NFL tonight, but we also had the NBA last night. Wasn't opening night, but it was more of an unofficial opening night for pretty much most of the league. We'll have more teams get their season started tonight. The Grizzlies played. They picked up a win on the road over the Utah Jazz, so we'll have to talk about that as well. Plenty to get into today, but Brett, how are you?
Brian, I'm doing well, and last night was a lot of fun. It was basketball wall to wall.
Yes, it was.
And I really enjoyed it. And Keith Smith, he has said all offseason, be on the lookout for the team where he lives, Orlando, and what Paulo Banchero did last night. Early sign of look out for Giannis. I can't believe I didn't have Milwaukee in my picks. Can I redo?
Well, maybe. Day after, maybe we can give you a mulligan, but might be too late.
They're sealed, hermetically sealed, and
right.
Now the concern in Charlotte for Brandon Miller.
Yeah, well, concern all over the place. I mean, there were a ton of injuries last night. Brandon Miller, a big one, but, you had some injuries in New Orleans last night in that game.
A big injury.
And so, that was kind of one of the big storylines from last night is just really injuries all over the place.
And the Suns-Clippers games, we talked about the arena was going to kind of wow everyone. Then the game topped the arena.
Yeah.
It was better than the arena.
Yeah, it was good. I did not stay up for the whole thing. I went to bed pretty early last night, pretty much right when the Grizzlies game was over. I went straight to sleep, but saw a lot of the highlights last night and even saw, like you said about that arena, even Kevin Durant after the game was talking about how much he liked that arena and especially the wall, this kind of student section-esque fan area right behind one of the baskets.
Very bubble.
Yes. It's interesting, but he said it was he really liked the idea and that he could not stop watching it and looking at it, and that he thought it played a really big role for the Clippers last night.
That Pelicans game, DeJounte Murray broken hand in that game. Pelicans looked good, won big over Chicago. Chicago's going to be here on Monday night. Boy, it's a good time to get them. Might not be a bad time all year to get them, but I think early is a really good time. Late, Golden State put it on Portland, but the Donovan Clingan era is underway.
Yeah, and he was kind of in the group of a lot of rookies last night who kind of struggled in their first game. Looked like rookies. That's exactly right. And so we'll see what he does in Portland. He'll have a ton of opportunities, especially early with how many injuries they have out there, but he'll have plenty of opportunities all year long to play a role there and try to improve and get better and maybe be a center of the future for them.
In the Grizzlies game, we may have set a record today not getting to the first-round draft pick, Zach Edey. There's just nothing to freak about.
No, not at all. I mean, it's first game for a rookie. I mean, you're gonna have guys that struggle. Everyone wants to point out the games where the rookie comes out and looks fantastic in the first game, and it's very easy when they struggle to point out the flaws. But I think this is a guy that I talked about it yesterday, where every step of the way he has worked his tail off to get better, and I think he'll continue to do that in the NBA. So, I'm not worried about him. I think, it's still a wait and see. And I was one that, I could have very easily come in here today and said, I told all of y'all we should have been worried about him because I have not been super high. But I'm not going to do that because I think it would be ridiculous to do, first off, with just one game. And I think that, it's a long season for one, and he's only a rookie. Everyone just relax and let this thing play out.
Yeah, and John Collins playing it like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, wasn't he?
He's ready to go. And then also Walker Kessler, who,
sure did.
Zach Edey kind of got the best of him in Summer League. And so, almost felt like he was kind of out for revenge against Edey in Game 1. So, I thought it was a good matchup for them. I mean, two guys that, honestly, you look at those two guys. John Collins, now it feels like is a type of guy that always comes up in trade conversations after his time in Atlanta.
You know why?
Well, yes.
The money.
That's right. And so I think he feels like he has something to prove to a lot of people. And right behind him, Walker Kessler is a guy that was a draft pick, had a really good first year. And then last year, it was a very up and down year for him where he got moved to the bench and came off the bench for them for most of the season. So I think, Zach Edey in his first game going up against two big men that I think feel like they have a lot to prove, maybe a chip on their shoulder. So I thought a good matchup for him in game one.
A lot of people would like to land that John Collins contract to move on from it, to let it expire on their terms. I didn't realize it during the game. Do you know what he makes, what he's going to make this year?
I know it's a lot of money. I don't know exactly how much.
I had no clue. But when he was playing with such, like it was game 7, I thought, man, lighten up. So I looked, $26.5 million.
How about that? Wow.
John Collins, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it. Good for him.
Good for him.
I would love to have
Bad
that
for
much
whoever's
money.
paying it.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's not great. But, hey, Utah Falk, I still don't think they're going to be a very good team in the long run because I do think there are going to be some trades. They're going to do some things later in the season. But, game one, there was a lot of energy in that building, and they fought. But I thought the Grizzlies showed a lot of really, really good things. It was fun to see John Morant back out there. Santi Aldama, what he did in that game last night was so much fun to watch. And you had some of those younger guys off the bench give you some really good minutes last night. So I thought a very positive game for the Grizzlies.
You made a good point a second ago about the rookies last night. Did any rookie really stand out?
No, not in the NBA. Nobody.
No
rookie played well.
So far, and Philip Kowski didn't even get off the bench in Utah. And that effort that Utah had, Collins wasn't alone. Marketing, playing it like it was for everything.
It was good, yeah.
You mentioned Kessler. That was a great effort by Utah. They thought they could steal opening night.
They definitely did, and I think a big part of it was, the build up to opening night. It was a good crowd. It was a delayed start because of all of the pregame festivities they had, and so there was good buzz in there, good energy, and I think this Utah team, as much as we want to sit in here and talk about these teams in the NBA and say, well, this team's going to be the worst in the league, and good reason because they want to tank for Cooper Flagg. None of those players in the locker rooms are talking about tanking for Cooper Flagg on opening night for the NBA season. They want to go out there and compete and win. I think you saw that from Utah last night, giving the Grizzlies a really good matchup. And now Grizzlies go and see Houston tomorrow night.
I'm not making any allegations here. The league doesn't want Cooper Flagg in Salt Lake City.
No. A lot of better places to have Cooper Flagg, but I don't
Chicago.
think that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop them from trying to get him. Brooklyn would be really fun. I would
there
love
are a lot of
Brooklyn.
places they would like to feature him. So a day off today, travel from Salt Lake City to Houston. Not a bad travel day, and then tomorrow night against the Rockets for the Grizzlies, and then the home opener Saturday night downtown at FedEx Forum against Paulo Banchero in Orlando.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and so I think a lot of fun last night for people who could watch the Grizzlies game. I heard there were a lot of people that had some
issues
with that, which I had no idea about until the game was over.
I did.
On social media.
I had people text me, are you having this?
Wow.
I said, no, I'm direct. I'm fine.
Yeah, I was completely fine on DirecTV, and I did hear that was a big issue last night for people. And somebody was telling me that this has been was even an issue during the Cardinal season for some people on Comcast at times. So it's something that doesn't feel new for some of those people, but hopefully they can get that resolved. And Friday night, like you mentioned, against the Rockets, you can have a better opportunity to see it. But then right after that, get downtown and go see them live in person when they host the Magic.
Brian, help me out. I'm just literally the definition of ignorant to it. So I have DirecTV. So
sure.
What are the cable option? Because is Xfinity the same thing as Comcast?
Yes. Yeah. So
okay.
Comcast turned into Xfinity. So you can really call it either. It was Comcast when I had it.
Because I was seeing the Twitter outrage about Comcast, and I would see it about Xfinity.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was one and the same.
I'm 99.9% sure it's the same thing. There might be still people who have Comcast and not Xfinity. I think Xfinity might be under the umbrella of Comcast, but they're basically the same exact thing. They're owned by the same people.
Nobody seems to ever be pleased with their TV provider, do they?
No, not at all. Not at all. Everyone's always mad.
I mean, when the wind blows, Direct can go out. Well, I exaggerate. Almost any rain, you're going to have the hiccups with direct. But
Sure.
most of the time, fine. But I hear a lot of outrage about, inside Shelby County for cable TV.
Sure. Yeah, and I have the streaming. I have DirecTV Stream, so I don't have really those issues. Mine just is if the internet's out or the internet's acting funny, then I can't watch television. But other than that, I love DirecTV Stream. Really, any of those. I've kind of had them all of the streaming television.
What is
providers.
foolproof? Antenna?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much you get with an antenna, but
I wonder what would make people happy, because you hear always kind of just simmering discontent. Yeah. It's same as our how I get on AT&T, same thing.
Sure. Oh no, I mean I don't know if there is a foolproof plan or an answer.
It's like traffic. Every town thinks their traffic's the worst. The drivers in Louisville, the drivers in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you ought to see how terrible the traffic is in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And we say the same thing here.
Yeah, we absolutely say the same thing here. But, no, I mean, all in all, it was a good game last night for the Grizzlies. We already talked kind of about, Aldama and Morant. But I really thought it was interesting the early substitution patterns by Taylor Jenkins, especially seeing the first two guys off the bench. I didn't really know who it would maybe be. Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr., the first two guys off the bench.
Jalen Wells knocked his shot down.
He looked really good. 23 minutes and put up 6 points, knocked down 2 threes. I thought played really well as a guy that you didn't really expect anything from him this year, and I thought looked really good.
Did you watch any college football last night?
I turned on the Kennesaw State game, I think, as the unofficial last play was happening.
You saw the end?
I did. I saw the first storming, and then I saw the second storming.
I can't stand Liberty. I'm not that big on Jamie Chadwell, and just leave the field. Nobody knows if it was a second left, but they stayed, and in the last play they were trying to start the throw-around play, my least favorite play in all of sports, and they lost. Take your L, Liberty, and go away, and please, nobody even suggests that they can still be in a college football playoff mix.
Chance.
That was so sad, them last year.
It was.
In the Fiesta Bowl.
It
Just
absolutely
go away,
was.
Liberty.
Yeah, and now that they have that one loss, they are definitely out of playoff consideration, because everyone was kind of waiting for, with that easy schedule, people were saying, one loss is definitely going to get them even undefeated. I think there's going to be some argument, some discussion about having them in. But, they lose to Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, their first ever FBS win. They come to the FBS ranks this year, had not had a win before that, and then this season
field stormings.
That's right. And so got everybody on the field, had to politely ask everybody to leave the field, and they
were very polite about it, weren't they?
Well, I hear a lot of people say that of if this was at Alabama, they wouldn't have been able to get those guys off the field that fast. Well, a lot more people when Alabama storming the field than Kennesaw State. And it was very easy to get them off the field and replay that play.
The announcers even mentioned live in real time there would be no way to get them off the field at Alton.
Yeah. So, I mean, sure, I guess I agree with that, but at the same time, Kennesaw State's just happy to be there. They would love to storm the field again, so of course they're going to go back in the stands. All 200 of them go back in the stands, do it all again. Congratulations to them, though. I love Kennesaw State.
Way to go, Kennesaw State. That moved them. There's only one remaining goose egg team. That's Kent State.
Kent State still rocking out there with no wins.
Still trying to get that first one.
And they're not very good. I've unfortunately watched them.
And that knocked the undefeateds from 10-9 with Liberty losing.
That is right.
Go away, Liberty.
Yeah. No, I'll be honest. I was not, with those two games last night, seeing the lines and seeing, who was matched up against each other. I said, you know what? This is going to be an NBA night. It's unofficial opening night. I'm watching only basketball tonight. And then sitting there with my buddy watching the Grizzlies game, he said, hey, my cousin just texted me and said Liberty's about to lose. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I got to it late when it looked like the upset was going to unfold. I by no means was watching every play. It was 95% NBA night for me.
That's right. And then I flipped it over, and I think when I finally flipped it over, I think the storming was starting, and then there was some question about it, and I was going, all right, what happened? I need to see a replay, and they finally showed it up there, and I saw what Liberty was upset about.
Tomorrow night, UNLV hosts Boise State. UNLV plays at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play.
Yeah.
They host Boise State tomorrow night. If UNLV beats Boise State, Tiger fans should really re-engage with this season.
Sure.
Because now one thing that hurts the Tigers, and we'll talk with Greg Gaston about this, is they have two teams in their conference ahead of them right now for that group of 5 pecking order.
Sure.
But there's a lot of football left to play. I think I don't know that I could go through W's and L's and pick the spot,
sure.
But I think Army and Navy will play their way out.
Yeah, I mean, Army, I think, has a really easy schedule. So I think, right now, I think you really need to be worried about Navy. I think that's the team you need to focus on if you're a Tiger fan, because they still have to go on the road to USF and also play Tulane this season. So those are going to be 2 tough games for them. And those are, spots where, if you're a Tiger fan, you're rooting for losses there. If you win out and you're the Tigers, Navy has 2 losses in conference play at that point, then you would be ahead of them. If you take care of business the rest of the way, let everything else play out, you should be in a matchup with Army for that conference championship spot. And then, go out there and beat Army, play a great game against Army, get a win there, and now you are definitely in the conversation. So, yeah, a lot of ball still to be played, and definitely spots, I think, for both Army and Navy. More Navy, I would probably think, to drop a couple games in conference play.
Yeah, and the Tigers just want one spot in that championship game.
That's right.
They're not trying to win both spots. So there's just one that they can appear in. Army off this week. Next week at home against the Air Force. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Air Force can beat them.
No.
And then Army at North Texas. I think North Texas gets them. And I don't know how the tiebreaker would work with Memphis and Army though.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. But hey, if you got there,
nobody knows tiebreakers. Yeah,
I mean,
anymore.
but at that point, who cares about tiebreakers? If if everything works out,
got to get in.
Well, but if it's them and Nate or in Army, if everything else works out and both those teams have one loss, then I'd be fine with that, going up to Army to play them in the conference championship game.
Yeah, that would be something.
Yeah, so I'm with you. A lot of football left to be played, and Tigers in a fine spot right now. They just got to go out and take care of what they can control, and I think they can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me set up today's show. Before we get to top and not top story of the day, 3:30, Bill Bender from the Sporting News. He'll join us to talk some college football. A lot to get to with Bill, the weekend from last week, and then some of the games for this weekend. 3:45, we'll talk more about the Grizzlies, their win over the Utah Jazz, 126-124, that final score is back and forth late, but the Grizzlies able to do enough to win that game. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show will join us to talk the NBA. I know he was watching all of these games last night, trying to watch as much as he could. So I'm sure he'll have a lot to get to when we talk NBA with him in about an hour. 4:30, we'll talk the NFL, Thursday Night Football. Tonight, we'll break down that matchup, some of the other news in the NFL. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's the world's biggest spa sale going on now at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spas starting at $28.99. Cold plunges at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools and all patio furniture. It's priced to move. So head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We're Sports Time. Grace and Brett and Bryant with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a big part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. We're always in our Family Leisure Studios. In this hour, always brought to you, title sponsor of this hour, it's the great people at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Great offers on all 2024 models that remain. The 2025s are taking over, and always special leasing options. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by and see them at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury, safe driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the Grizzlies, their 126-124 win over the Utah Jazz. I thought a fun night for the Grizzlies to pick up a win on the road and start the season 1-0. We saw, for the first time officially in an official game, this new Grizzlies offense, and it included a lot of three-pointers. 45 three-point attempts last night for the Memphis Grizzlies. They made 17 of them, so about 38% from three for the Grizzlies last night, and Santi Aldama was a big part of that. He came out shooting early and often, 5 for 10 from three for Santi Aldama. He finished with a team-high 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Right behind him, though, Desmond Bane and Ja Morant. Desmond Bane, an up-and-down first half, a really good second half for him as he finished with 24 points. Ja Morant with 22 and really took over in that fourth quarter to secure the win for the Grizzlies. Some of the, on the other end, I guess continue with the good. Jay Huff looked really good off the bench as maybe a big man that you can bring in at times off the bench. 13 and 5 for him. I thought even though Jalen Wells finished the game 2 for 6 from the field, thought brought a spark off the bench, not scared to shoot that three ball. A guy that nobody really expected to play a role for this team, especially in game one, is now being called upon off the bench. Now I understand injuries and other things are playing a role into that, but I do think Jalen Wells is going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on. On the other side of that, one great game for Marcus Smart and Zach Edey. For Marcus Smart, 3 for 11 from the field, only 11 points, 5 rebounds, only 1 assist for the guard. And then Zach Edey, first game, I think was playing tight, especially early. 2 for 4 from the field, only 5 points. He fouled out in only 15 minutes of game time. I think this is going to be one of his probably worst games of the season when we look back on it, because I do think Zach Edey is only going to get better from this. I think he's only going to learn from this, and we'll see what he looks like tomorrow night in another road game against Houston.
Can everybody be honest?
Sure.
Do you really remember Jay Huff at UVA?
I remember a little bit of him. I can't say I was watching every single game of him at UVA.
Okay. I believe you.
Okay. I don't
remember him at all.
Nah, well, it was very quick. It was a passive.
For everybody but you, I would never call anybody the L word a liar. I'm just going to say I don't believe you.
Okay.
Except for you. I believe you, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
My top story, Grizzlies survive in Salt Lake City. Remember when I said that right after the draft, I think the day after the draft, I said there are going to be some nights where the box score is going to be ugly for Zach Edey. You're going to look at it and just go, oh, my, wad it up and throw it away. Well, we got that out of the way early, didn't we?
Sure did.
5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 fouls, but okay. Santi Aldama was great after really not hitting anything early from one spot, and Brevin Knight had the great analysis, moved to another spot, and he did, and he got hot, and it was fun to see the Grizzlies back there with mostly the team that we can recognize. Last year's nightmare, I think people need to understand, it was a lot of no number 12 last year. Mm-hmm. It was good to have him back. Desmond Bane, real good last night. Marcus Smart, couldn't have better nights, but still chipped in some. Nice having your team back, and to help Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson will return soon.
That's right. He sure will. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's Thursday, which means Thursday night football. And tonight we're in California for the Rams hosting the Vikings. Vikings coming off their first loss of the season to the Detroit Lions. A really good game that came down to a last-second made field goal to secure the win for the Lions. On the other side, it's been a rough year for the Rams. They've had a ton of injuries. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, their 2 big-time receivers, have both been out pretty much all season long, as both those guys are getting closer to returning. What does this mean for the Rams, and what does it mean for them? I've seen some people throwing out the idea of maybe the Rams moving on from Cooper Kupp, maybe trading him before the deadline. On the other side, the Vikings, I don't know how many people thought the Vikings would be playing this well into October, but here they are, a 2.5-point favorite on the road tonight on Prime Video. I think should be a good game. I'm curious to see what the Rams can do at home and see, after a loss, can the Vikings bounce back to their winning ways, or maybe the Lions got to them a little bit last week and could cause some trouble.
A lot of injury news breaking right now. Vikings tight end T.J. Hawkinson won't play tonight.
Oh, wow.
Will be activated off injury reserve on Friday for Week 9 against the Colts. Tom Pelissero with that tweet. So Thursday night, always a lot of people that just can't go because of the turnover time from Sunday's just too fast. My not top story, you remember baseball, the World Series and all that?
Yeah.
It starts tomorrow night. It's been too long. In Tinseltown, Yankees and Dodgers, why this long of wait? They should have been playing baseball on Wednesday night. And now a lot of the country is kind of unplugged. Thank goodness it's Yankees and Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani against Aaron Judge, because imagine the unplug factor if this was San Diego against Cleveland with Stephen Kwan against Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, that would not get a huge turnout, I don't think.
Baseball, you can't have these hard fixed dates. You're not the Super Bowl. It's one thing I think is important for anything, anybody, any group, anything in society. Understand who you are and understand what you're not. In baseball, you're just not that primary anymore. Yeah. People don't want to wait to the weekend to watch you.
No, you're right. A lot of people moving on, especially with everything happening. I mean, you're going to have college football. You're going to have NBA now starting. I mean, it's a lot of stuff now that they have to go up against. So I'm with you. I wish we could have gotten this kicked off a little sooner than Friday night. But I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we're talking college football with Bill Bender.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Sometimes you just want the naked facts, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. This naked-style streetlight sports a narrow 471cc twin, along with a sleek TFT display, dual-disc front brakes, and standard ABS, all at an affordable price. Find fun in all the right places in the 2024 Honda CB500F. Available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown. And in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
I got him on the line right now, Marty McNade over in Gosford, Volkswagen, Germantown. Hey, what's happening, dude?
I'm going back in time, Randy, with 0% for 60 months on all 2024 Tiguan's. When's the last time you've heard that?
It's been a while, Marty. Hey, what else you got?
I've got all Peak Edition Atlases at $5,000 off MSRP MSRP.
That's awesome. Every Peak Edition Atlas, $5,000 off MSRP.
Or take your pick from 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month.
2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month. Great Scott McNate, you do got it going on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
As for me, Marty McNade at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and remember, your future is what you make of it.
Get out here and see us 7420 Winchester Road or shop online, GossipBWG.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Sports 56 traffic.
Well, it's cranking it pretty good. Certain sections of the Midtown area, 240 South here at South Parkway, as traffic increases also on I-40 East from, let's say, Hollywood all the way over to White Station. Looks good right now. 240 East up by Poplar. 240 not bad as you get on the 385 Billmore Parkway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sportstime is Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News, and on Twitter X @Bill Bender. Here's Bill with Brian and Brett.
Bill Bender joins us now to talk some college football from the Sporting News. He joins us every single week. And Bill, usually I wouldn't do this, but special occasions today, I think we need to take a second and congratulate Kennesaw State on their first win as an FBS program over, what were they, a 28.5-point underdog last night over Liberty. That was a big-time win for them.
Yeah, it was obviously it shook up the Group of Five playoff picture.
Yeah.
Because there's only a handful of teams doing that, and Liberty was the undefeated team that had a so-called weak strength of schedule. I mean, historical moment for Kennesaw State, I'm sure. I mean, first FBS victory and everything that comes with that. So just another reminder that just never know. That's why you got to play the game.
Official box score says 8,209. Witness history last night at Kennesaw.
Yeah, I had it on briefly. I can't sit here and say that I had the entire game on. I'm
dark and
bouncing around a little bit. But I did see, a couple tweets afterward, and obviously a big win for them. I'm trying to think what I was watching last night. I was flipping around a little bit.
A lot of NBA for us with the Grizzlies playing. I tell you who was down on the field, and you could tell making it work. Barrett Saleh was right in the middle of it. Of course, he lives down there. I don't know how far he is from the stadium, but he was right down in both scrums. They had two field storming. Bill, when you look at the college football landscape, after this weekend, we're through October. We'll be into November football, and teams will largely be whatever they're going to be for the rest of the year. Who's the team that you think is kind of the Michigan model from last year on the field, not off, that's just so steady that unless an injury occurred, they're just going to gnaw out that? Now, it was different with the bracket last year, but who's kind of that Michigan model this year, certainly just on the field? I know they had a lot of controversy off.
Oregon, probably. I mean, they managed to get to this point, and, I think their running game's a little bit better than we lead on, and their defensive line's a little bit better. Dylan Gabriel, kind of like J.J. McCarthy, steady hand, accurate, doesn't make a ton of mistakes, and their schedule's set up. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think, if they run it back with the Buckeyes, Ohio State could beat them. Or if they get in the playoff, they could get beat. But as far as regular season, taking care of their business, last week, great example. Friday night, short week, cross-country flight, 35-0 against Purdue. I think they've been rolling.
Yeah, that's a good one. Big win for them against Purdue. I want to jump to this Georgia-Texas game Saturday night. It was one of the big games of the weekend in college football, and Georgia's defense looked fantastic against this Texas team. What did that game tell you about Texas and this season that they've played so far?
Well, I believe we talked about it last week, a little bit about the underdog card, and nobody plays it like Kirby.
That's right.
He had them. Their speed defensively. I still have questions about Georgia's secondary. I do, but the ability to Texas's running game. I think Texas had 1.1 yards per carry, and Jalen Walker had just an unbelievable game. So, just a reminder that they're a national championship caliber team. Texas, I wonder the pass interference call, we can get into it if you want, but had Texas won that game after they switched the pass interference call, we'd still be talking about that part.
Yeah.
Sure would. We'd talk about it forever because it was a bad call, but still the administration of it was even worse. And to change on the fly after all the debris was thrown on the field, Kirby Smart handled himself well in that. So are we now back to Georgia is top dog in the SEC?
I think so, yeah. But, there's a couple of dogs playing this weekend. You look at the SEC standings, and when you have this 9 teams that have 2 losses or less, it's confusing, number one. Number two, Texas A&M and LSU are playing. And the winner of that game will be the lone unbeaten SEC team in conference play, which to me is very important. You're trying to get that shot to go to Atlanta. And I'm going to tell you what, Brett, if LSU wins, that would be the bigger overreaction, meaning they would have gone to Arkansas and A&M in back-to-back weeks and won. And we'd start to think about LSU, that runway would be pretty wide open to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, it would be. They still have some challenges, and they always kind of have a thing with Florida, and they got to go to games when I think Florida's a little better. I think Florida's defensive front is a lot better than I thought it would be now without Graham Mertz, but they got the freshman DJ Lagway, so don't count out Florida. How about this one in the SEC? If A&M wins this weekend, but they lose to Texas the last game of the year, are they in the playoffs somewhere at worst 11 seed?
Be 10-2 with losses to Notre Dame and Texas. Mm-hmm. And let's to further your point, Brett, let's say a close loss to Texas, like a best rivalry week game right now. Things can change, but to me, that's probably the go-see game. I would say they would probably be in. It'd be hard to turn them down. With that they would profile very similar to a team I'm watching this weekend. Illinois. Let's ask the same question. 10-2, lost 21-7 at Penn State. Let's say they lose 27-24 at Oregon this weekend. 10-2. Do you let the Illini in? There's going to be teams like this that it's going to make a lot of headaches for the committee. That's coming.
All right, one thing that I don't think should be a headache for the committee. If I were a committee person, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are, except for in a conference championship game. But regular season, if there's 3 losses, I'm sorry, you started the same time everybody else did, and 3 losses cannot be rewarded.
No, I'm wondering if we'll get a 3-loss team in. And, as soon as I get off the phone here, that you kind of sparked an idea, and I had this on my to-do list. I need to kind of go sketch out all the 1-2 loss teams. I know we're running out of unbeaten teams. We have a really good matchup with an unbeaten team tonight in Pitt playing Syracuse. I'm excited to watch that. And then even tomorrow, you got to stay up late, but Boise State UNLV is fun. So, Brett, I'm wondering. I think we might get a 3-loss team in. Might not. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet I threw out there earlier this week. Follow me real quick. Oregon if Illinois beats Oregon, and that's the biggest piece of this puzzle, there is a scenario where 5 Big Ten teams could finish 11-1 with 8-1 conference records. How do you sort that out? Good luck.
I think you reward it. That's how you sort it out. Well, if you were on the committee, how would you sort that out?
I don't know. I don't. I mean, it's just funny because by the tiebreakers, Ohio State would go, and then Indiana would not go to the Big Ten championship game, and then you would have the trio of Penn State, Illinois, and Oregon. And I tried to get the fourth tiebreaker, and I was terrible at that. So I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing here. So that's one that I find very interesting. But you're going to have that maybe in the ACC. And the fact that we have this car pile up in the SEC already. I mean, you have 9 ranked teams with 2 losses or less. It's messy.
Here's you a fun hypothetical column if you want it next week. Just decide on the number of 10. Big 10, that has a ring to it. Take then you list 1 through 10 what you think would be how should be ranked in the Big 10, and then do it in the SEC and see what the challenge would look like if 10 played 10 and 9 played 9 all the way through. And I think if SEC people were honest about it, at best it might be 5-5, or maybe as high as 7-3 Big 10.
Well, and then the other, that's a great idea. And the other one I was kind of kicking around is, maybe you add or maybe subtract 2 Big Ten teams, and you do the 16 and 16 in the SEC and the Big Ten, and then you compare it to the NFL. And I saw a tweet this week where they said all the division winners in the SEC, and they charted it out. It's like, then you play the division winners, then you play an SEC championship game, and kind of had some merit in this environment we live in. Because we don't have divisions, because we don't have identical schedules, I keep saying November, I love talking to you guys every week, but we're going to spend a large part of this segment in November handling these gnarly messes, if that makes sense, because they're coming in these final 5 weeks of the regular season.
Oh, it's a freight train headed at us, no doubt.
Absolutely. Bill, I'm curious, we talk so much SEC and we're watching all these games, but I've gotten really interested in this ACC race in the last couple of weeks. I mean, you look at them, you mentioned Pitt earlier, but you got, 4 teams right now in the top 25. You've got Duke and Syracuse, and not in the top 25, but only 1 loss overall, and both with a loss in conference. How many teams do you think the ACC could get into the playoffs, talking about this mess, and who has really surprised you in the ACC this year?
Well, I mean, I got a profile on Pitt today, and how Pat Narduzzi, I love talking to him, by the way. He's one of the good ones, uses the portal. He doesn't like the portal, but he had to use it. And he described that, and they've found a couple good ones. Eli Holstein's been really good. And Desmond Reed, Western Carolina transfer, been really good. So I think they're an interesting team to me. And to answer your question, I think they'll get 2 if SMU can keep doing their thing. They got to play each other. And, but the best bet would be Miami Clemson. They just win out, both of them. They don't play in the regular season, play each other. Great game. It probably would be a great game, by the way. Yeah. And you get 2 that way. And I think they're a better bet to get 2 in the Big 12, despite the fact that the Big 12 has 2 unbeaten teams right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Last thing for you, Bill. This game this weekend, Missouri versus Alabama in Alabama. We talked about Alabama and their loss over the weekend to Tennessee. They've not looked good over the last couple of weeks. Missouri on the other side, they have 1 loss, but needed Brady Cook to go to the hospital and come back and re-enter that game late in the afternoon last week to get a win over Auburn. Right now, Alabama, a 17-point favorite. What do you expect to see in that matchup?
Well, I mean, I think if Cook doesn't play, they're going to struggle a little bit. It's going to make it tough for them. But, either way, I mean, Alabama just hasn't been themselves. A lot of penalties. And, we're waiting for this get-well game from them, but it's in 3 weeks. And perhaps Missouri's the target for that, but that's a Missouri team that still has some guys on defense. They showed last week that, Carroll's a capable running back. And and they may be able to hang in that game a little bit, but it'd be an uphill battle without Cook. And I really respect his toughness for how he went back in that game last week.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun story to follow. Bill, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy this weekend of games, and we'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Hey, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on. Take care.
Thank you, Bill, and happy Halloween to you and yours up there in Ohio. Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
You got it. We will visit with Bill next week. Well, next week we'll have him on Halloween next week.
That's right. Yeah, next Thursday, All Hallows Eve. How about that? Hard to believe. I mean, Brett, I don't know what it is about this year. It feels like every week you're like, yeah, next week's opening day in the NBA. Next week's Halloween. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no way that's happening next week.
Tell me about it.
It's flying by.
It really is. Bill Bender with us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. All our guests appear at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're so excited about getting downtown Saturday night for the opening night for the Grizzlies, part of that floor seat lounge that they have, and sponsorship of the inline seats and so many things, sponsor of the Tigers, everything around town. And every week when we look back at the weekend from the SEC on Monday at 4:30, they bring you that from us. They were with us at Media Days, with us at the golf tournament, with us throughout the year, and we appreciate them. Over at 4542 Poplar, that great new 9,000 square foot location in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, that special time of year for engagements, wedding bands, rings, necklaces, and earrings since 1970 with all the great locations across the Mid-South. Sissy's offers a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, fine gifts, unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience with extraordinary people, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's get to another break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the Grizzlies and their win last night over the Jazz. That's next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Winton Road.
End the year in style during the Mitsubishi Motors year-end sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with 420 total range or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. Now $349 a month. That's Outlander PHEV or Outlander Sport. Your choice, $349 a month. And get ready to slip into something more comfortable with your 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander. Only $31,700 or $499 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi today and end your year with savings at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
RZO 67244, MSRP 42750 Sport, RUO 18037, MSRP 28115, Outlander RZO 67690, MSRP 332. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football.
Need good food fast? You need 901 Eats to Go in Butler. Meat in two sides, chicken wings and tenders, cheeseburgers, Philly cheesesteak, even catfish, plus sides and drinks. 901 Eats to Go has everything you want when you want it at prices you can afford. Call 901-417-8232. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. That's Eats with a Z. Delicious and convenient. 901 Eats to Go. 3135 Kirby Wooden Road in Bartlett. Good food fast.
It's Trucktober at Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC of Columbia. Get up to almost 2 grand off this for 324 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT or a 24 GMC Sierra for $100. Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC of Columbia. We know it's fun to buy a car.
Price plus tax, title, and license. Price includes $899.50 processing fee. Silverado R124 8261. MSRP $60,600. Dealer incentive $51.51. Customer cash $3,000. Bonus cash $17.50. Sierra RZ 3215.64. MSRP $87,500. Dealer incentive $7,000. Purchase allowance $27.50. Expires 10/31/24.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got a couple minutes left in this first hour, and we got to talk some more about the Grizzlies win last night over the Utah Jazz. We talked about it a lot in the first segment, Brett. A lot of good, a little bit of not so good, but all in all, a road win to start the season. After yesterday, you brought up the point that 0-6.
No longer.
No longer. So that's definitely a positive.
Got to be the first time, and got it last night. Rob Fisher had it with us and on TV last night on FanDuel Sports Network, and they were terrific. He had that as a money line pick with the Grizzlies. It got there, 126, 124. Look, that's one down, 40 to go on the road in the NBA.
Yeah, and I think, it's always hard to win on the road in the NBA or any professional league. And so, again, we mentioned this in the first segment, that a lot of people are down on the Jazz. A lot of people think they're going to be in the sweepstakes for Cooper Flagg or whoever, is at the top of that draft, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. They're probably going to be in that conversation. But opening night, there was an energy. That team definitely went out there and wanted to win that game, and very competitive. But, John Morant did what he does. Maybe, it's been a while since we've seen him do that, but he took over in the fourth quarter and, really, really looked good with some made baskets, a couple assists, and, led the Grizzlies to that 2-point victory.
91 field goal attempts, 45 three-pointers.
Yeah.
45.
That's this new offense that the Grizzlies are going to be running. It's fast, and, it's going to rely a lot on, knocking down three-pointers, and they were able to do it last night, 38%, shooting from a good clip last night.
Only 13 turnovers, playing at that pace. Mm-hmm. And it was wild. You look at all the NBA scores from last night. We were talking about the old Ralph Lawler race to 100, the famous Clippers announcer who had that protestation years ago that everybody went with. That's no longer the case. So I'm not going to go with what people scored. I'm going to go what would have taken for them to win.
Okay.
So the loser in all these games will have one less. It would have taken 110 for Indiana to win over Detroit. Mm-hmm. It would have taken 117 for Atlanta to win over the Nets. It would have taken 98 for the Magic to win over the Heat. That's the only one in under 100. 110 for the Bucks to win over Philadelphia. 107 for Cleveland over Toronto. 106 for Charlotte over Houston. 112 for the Pelicans over the Bulls. The Grizzlies, they needed one less than they got. 125 would have done it with the 124 over Utah. Overtime, 114 for Phoenix. You got to score.
Yeah, no, scoring is huge right now in the NBA.
This ain't belly button to belly button Bob Knight defense.
No, it is offense. It's getting up and down the court. It's
Eddie Sutton would have a fit watching this.
Oh, absolutely. And so, Grizzlies able to get it done last night. I thought a lot of promising things. And you mentioned it, Brett, there's still a handful of injuries with this team. Once Luke Kennard comes back, that'll give you more shooting. Jaren comes back, that'll give you a little more on offense.
Can Kennard play at this pace, Brian?
It's a great question. we'll have to see. And I think, that's going to be a big thing on, where his spot is with this
Who's
team.
he going to guard at this pace?
It's another good question. And both those I think are going to be a wait and see when he returns, and then kind of maybe see what options you have if he can't play with this, because it definitely looks like with the staff overhaul, this isn't a let's try it and see what happens. This is going to be the Grizzlies.
They're committed to it.
Yeah, they absolutely
and if you're going to have that kind of overhaul and really just the clean sweep, except for the head coach,
right.
You got to do what you brought them all in to do.
That's exactly right.
No need to let go a bunch of good people and run the same system.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it looks different, but, I liked what I saw last night, and I think it's only going to get better because, for a lot of these guys, and, I think we talked about it with Rob yesterday, these guys knew about this new system in the offseason. I'm sure a lot of them were, doing some stuff on their own through it, but, very short training camp, a handful of games throughout
one way to
preseason.
really do it.
Yeah, it's going to take time for this team to really get going with this new system. But again, I liked what I saw last night.
I was happy about the win. People talk about baseball in its pace. That was a long game, and the pregame took a while.
Yeah. And that was another thing. It was a little bit of a delayed start there. I think they didn't end up getting started till, 8:20 probably.
I'm glad that building's back to being Delta Center. I can remember it that way.
Yes. But they were they had the festivities going before the game started, and so you're right. I mean, when that game was done, and it was about 11 o'clock, I was like, holy cow, that was.
Did you notice all the empty seats after halftime? They were there. Those seats were taken in the first half. Those seats were taken most of the fourth quarter. But they must have some luxury club. Vending area, concession areas to go to, because it took a while for everybody to get back to their seat.
No, you're right. That's a good observation, because I did notice that. And but hey, like you said, they were there, and I guess just long lines, and you get through it and get back in your seat when you can. But fun night last night for the Grizzlies as they start the season 1-0 with a 126-124 win over the Jazz. Travel day now for them tomorrow night. They will be on the road again in Houston against the Rockets, who got off to an 0-1 start last night with a loss against the Hornets, 110-105, the final score of that game. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to another break. And when we come back, we're talking more NBA with Keith Smith.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
It's here, Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. It's introduced today. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special two-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and zero interest financing on a stunning selection of luxurious pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got Rolex Volts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, the hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, light new condition.
at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest sponsor might go on forever. Family Leisure. With and run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
I've got him on the line, Jason, the main man marshal at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Hey, give me the lowdown, Jason.
Here's what's really low down. Interest rates. All 2024 Volkswagen Tiguan's now 0% for 60 months.
0% for 60 months available on every 2024 Tiguan. That's awesome. What else you got?
Randy, all peak condition Atlas is now $5,000 off MSRP.
A whopping $5,000 off MSRP on all peak edition Atlases. Hey, what else you got?
Right now, take your pick for 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE. $289 a month.
Taos SE or Jetta SE, $289 a month. Wow, Jason, the main man marshal, you got it going on.
And remember, at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, no reasonable offer will be refused.
That's Gossett Volkswagen 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One. Longtime NFL head coach Ron Rivera joins me from Los Angeles as we kick off Week 8 with Thursday Night Football between the Rams and the Vikings. Minnesota is coming off their first loss of the season to the Lions, while the Rams hope to build off their win on Sunday against the Raiders. Don't miss it. Vikings at the Rams coming up on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
All right, gentlemen, this is Emmett Smith on behalf of the Pen, and I've got the perfect play. Run straight to your doctor's office for a life-changing gift, because when prostate cancer is caught early, it's up to 99% treatable, and one blood test might be all it takes. And now through November, the Pen is donating to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for select purchases. Talk about a great play.
From September 1st to November 30th, the Pen is donating 30 cents to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for differentiated yards real fit products purchased in the U.S. up to a maximum of $400,000 awarded in Mississippi.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Car Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Horsworthy and Bryant Dakin.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studio, and it was a fun night last night watching the Grizzlies, watching all the NBA action over the last 2 nights as the regular season has officially started. So we got to talk some NBA, and we do it every single Thursday with Keith Smith. So let's go ahead and talk some NBA.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show. And on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith, it's been fun these last two nights watching actual games that matter in the NBA. Last night, a really good slate, including the Memphis Grizzlies. So I want to start there. They get a 2-point win on the road in Utah against the Jazz. What were your takeaways from what you saw from the Grizzlies in their opener last night?
Yeah, I think that was a good win for them. I know the Jazz are not one of the top-tier contender teams in the conference, but that's still a very tough place to play. It's annually, one of the harder places to get road wins in the NBA. So I think it's, we're in a spot for Memphis where those are the wins you have to have, right? It's a big part of being a team that is successful is winning the games you should win. And then you win the half of the 50-50 toss-ups, and you're in pretty good shape. So that was a nice win for them. I thought you had a chance to see their depth show up a little bit with some other guys out, which is a good thing to see. And all around a good start to the season.
Friday night for the Grizzlies. Tomorrow night in Houston. Right now, Houston installed as a slim 1.5-point favorite. Is that one of those you have to get?
That's a little less so. That's more of a closer to a toss-up game. If the Rockets are, who we think they might be, they stumbled big time at home against the Charlotte Hornets. That a game that they should have won, especially when Brendan Miller went out very early on in that game. So that's something that is a little bit interesting there. I think it's hard to say game 2 of 82 is a must win, but I think you're going to see a Rockets team come in with a little bit more focus and ready to go. But yeah, that's a game that the Grizzlies, if we're going to take them really serious, that's a game that I think they at the very least should be competitive in or even win.
Yeah, when you mentioned that injury to Brandon Miller, he left the game. You had an injury to DeJounte Murray in his game last night, and I just saw on social media that James Wiseman has been ruled out for the year with an Achilles, so a torn Achilles. So a lot of injuries last night on kind of the unofficial opening night of the NBA season.
Yeah, there were, unfortunately. Emmanuel Quickley as well for the Toronto Raptors took a pretty hard fall, and he's also expected to miss at least a game or two. And the Wiseman one is just such a brutal break. There was so much excitement for him to get this fresh start with the Indiana Pacers. They were really excited to have him. He was playing well. He'd only played about 4 or 5 minutes, but had done well in the time that he was out on the floor. And it was just one of those classic, no one was near him. He turned to run back on defense, and you saw him immediately stop, look back like someone had kicked him, and then he kind of went to the ground. And you instantly, when you see those, you're like, that's probably the Achilles, because that's the classic mechanism and reaction to an Achilles tear. Now, that's going to cost him, obviously, the rest of this season. He'll probably be ready to play right around the start of next year. You guys are very familiar with torn Achilles with Brandon Clark there in Memphis, so he's got a long road ahead of him. But, I'm still a believer in James Wiseman. There's talent there that just the right team can tap into and get out of it. So hopefully this isn't too much of a setback for him to come back and still get his career on track.
For James Wiseman, I'm at Basketball Ref now, and I'm looking at his games played in his career. Only 148 games. Made his NBA debut in fall of 2020, right in smack in the middle of COVID. And for him, though, and I hate this word, and you more or less have answered it, Keith. Are you still optimistic about him? But to date, has he been a bust?
Yeah, we're probably at that point, because when you're to the point where you're kind of a fringe guy hanging around the edge of rosters after your rookie contract and you're drafted in the lottery, that's I think a fair terminology to put on that. And injuries have been part of it, but just the lack of production is, I think, the bigger part of that. If he was wildly productive despite the missed time, we'd just say, yeah, he's just been snake bit with injuries. But the lack of production added on top of it, that makes it tough. And now, we're talking about an injury here, in his mid-20s that, this is more often than not changed guys' entire careers. Thankfully, it doesn't really end them anymore. This used to be a career ender type of thing. Now it's just a change thing, and he's probably going to have to really work and probably be a slightly different player than what we're used to seeing when he comes back. But again, hopeful and rooting for him to get his career going again.
I compare his career, his style of play, and now the results very much to Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Marvin Bagley's come on the last couple of years. Now, he's done it toiling in relative obscurity in Detroit and then Washington, where, let's face it, the national basketball watcher has checked out on them before we even hit the holiday period because those teams haven't been very good. But Marvin Bagley started to figure some stuff out over the last couple of years. Now, what's unfortunate for Marvin Bagley, he's going to be forever linked to the Kings drafted him over Luka. They could have Luka, and Luka's coach was there, and the Suns maybe should have taken him, and all the stuff that was said, there with Luka and Bagley. But that's not Marvin Bagley's fault. He didn't choose where to go. But yeah, he started to put it together, and that's example number million of sometimes these young big men take until they're into their mid to late 20s to really figure it out and put it together. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing with Marvin Bagley, who I think is going to play a pretty big role for this Wizards team, at least early on in the year.
Jermaine O'Neal was one of the great examples of that. Yep. It took him a while to sort it out, and he really got it figured out.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Yeah, I mean, there were people when he got traded from the Trailblazers to the Pacers were like, well, that's just kind of, we're just, that's a end of the bench shuffle there. It doesn't really matter. And then became a really good player with the Pacers, then went on to turn in a number of solid years. It's so funny, these guys, especially like Jermaine O'Neal, came right out of high school. Then when they turned it into like they're the grizzled veteran kind of guy, like that just makes me feel old, because that means I've just been doing this a very long time. But that's what Jermaine O'Neal turned himself into by the end of his career.
Mm-hmm. Keith, I don't know how much you've been able to see of this, but just coming down within the last hour, Chris Haynes reporting, this is the tweet he posted about an hour ago, former Los Angeles Clippers trainer Randy Shelton is suing the franchise for wrongful termination, among other things, after he claims he was fired after complaining that Kawhi Leonard was being subjected to unsafe and illegal treatment for injuries. And we know right now Kawhi Leonard is out with injury as he continues to try to rehab the injury that he's been dealing with since last season. How much of this have you been able to see? What do you make of this report from Chris Haynes?
Yeah, I've seen that from Chris that he's put out there, and Chris has generally been very close to the Clippers organization and to Kawhi Leonard situations over the years. He was the one who actually broke Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers. He was the first one on that report when that happened, and it's very unfortunate. And I don't know that where any of this is. This had been kind of one of those things that was whispered about a little bit, that the former trainer was not real happy with the fact that he was let go and that more was going to come out. Well, now we're obviously getting the more that has come out with this. The Kawhi Leonard situation continues to be one of the more mysterious, I guess, is the easiest way to frame this around the NBA. Now, part of it shouldn't be. I always go back to when he was initially injured with the San Antonio Spurs, before he even got traded to the Toronto Raptors, the Spurs said this is a condition that will need to be managed. It wasn't a specific injury that he had. They said that his quad and his knee were going to be something that was going to have to be managed for the remainder of his career. Obviously, Toronto got it right. That 1 year, everything worked out. They managed him through it, and they ended up winning a championship. He's gone on to, with the Clippers, miss a significant amount of time, and now we're back to who knows when he's actually going to play here. I think it was Shams reported yesterday, it may be weeks before we see him on the court. So this is just one of those things where I think we're going to be left with Kawhi Leonard looking at his career at some point and saying, man, what if? Well, what if this guy had been healthy? But I don't know that we should all be fully surprised about any of this, because I think the Spurs tried to tell us, what feels like, over half a decade ago.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Speaking of the Clippers, they had their first game at their new home arena, the Intuit Dome, and we got to see the wall, which kind of like a student section type feel vibe for them, where it's just a supporter section right behind one of the baskets. After the game, Kevin Durant talked about how much he loved the idea and how much he thinks it will be an advantage for the Clippers. What did you make of that game? Because first off, that game was fantastic. Went to overtime. A really good game between the Suns and the Clippers. And then what did you make of this new arena?
Yeah, as far as the game, I think you saw the Clippers. They're going to be a pain in the neck to play against because they're going to defend. They're going to make you work. They've got James Harden still. He's not the MVP level James Harden anymore, and you could see that he's no longer a one man offensive machine. But they've got talent even without Kawhi Leonard, so they're going to make you work. If you don't show up, kind of like we talked about in the West, some of these teams, if you don't show up and play your best, you're going to get beat. They're just they're good enough to take you down with that. And then the Suns, I think we got a sense of, all right, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, you have a real handle on. They're going to kind of run things a little bit there. And Durant and Beal and Booker, I thought Mike Budenholzer did a nice job of staggering those three guys to make sure he kind of always had two of the three on the court, but there was always at least room for one of them to kind of, all right, this is your period of the game, and that's going to be really important. And then the arena, so many cool things there. The wall, you talked about it. I'm so excited for that because, it's kind of hard to do a lot new in a basketball arena. It's it's not a baseball field where there's no set dimensions, right? You can do a whole lot of different things. Kind of like, well, the court is what it is, and then around it, I guess you could try some stuff. And I think it's neat that the Clippers are trying this out. I've heard that wraparound ring video board that they have is really great. I know a lot of people have good things to say about that. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping to get out there later this year to check it out. My favorite arena in the league is the Fieldhouse in Indiana, which should be no surprise. They basically took the concept of a high school gym and then expanded it out to be NBA size, and that's what it feels like. It's just so cool. They did such a job, like honoring, the game is what matters most there in Indiana, and that's a lot of fun. But I'm excited to eventually check out the Intuit Dome.
With you being the Larry Bird devotee that you are, have you ever made the pilgrimage to French Lick?
It's funny. I never have. When I was in high school, I was going into my senior year of high school. My dad traveled for a living, so a lot of times school vacation we would link up with him wherever he was, and it was our spring break period. Basketball had stopped for me. I was I was on a little bit of a break, and we went and we were going to go, and they had a freak snowstorm that came in that year, and it was going to be about an hour's drive from where we were, and my mom just didn't feel comfortable making the drive. So we didn't go, but it's on my list. It's something I want to do at some point. Yeah, I want to do a kind of whole trip, and I'd like to do it in the wintertime and go check out some of the kind of the small town basketball there, where it's still even in the 2024, 2025 time frame here. They still have towns where the local high school is playing, everything shuts down in the town, and that's something that just is so special, and I would love to check out and see for myself.
That is the time to do it. Keith Smith with us talking NBA. He's on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. The arena in Los Angeles. Ballmer, you knew he was going to blow it out, but you could just feel last night the liberation from the Lakers and not sharing a building anymore.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. Yeah, they didn't want to be the third tenant in anymore, because as much as it's the Lakers, but they're also buying the Kings in the pecking order there at what crypto.com or whatever it is. I'll always think of it as Staples Center, but they didn't want to be that third team in anymore. And now it's funny, what we all kind of collectively lose out on. I liked that we don't always get those afternoon matinee games, because that's what they got stuck with. Is the hockey team and Lakers took the showcase at night. But yeah, I mean, you could tell they're really trying to do everything they can, with their rebranding of their logo and their color scheme and the building and everything else. They're trying to really stand on their own in a way that they haven't almost since they've existed in Los Angeles, and that's pretty cool. And I think with Steve Ballmer, that's something where I think they deserve a lot of credit for going the extra mile to try to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go over to Crypto.com Arena, back to actual opening night when the Lakers hosted the Timberwolves. They get the 110-103 win over Minnesota. AD was fantastic, 36-point double-double for him. LeBron looked good. J.J. Redick picks up his first win as a head coach in the NBA. What did you think of the Lakers' win a couple nights ago?
I don't know. Did they? I only knew that Braun and Bronny played together.
Oh,
That's
yes,
all
yes.
I saw. But no, yeah, I mean, great start for the Lakers, right? AD was awesome. LeBron, did his thing and played. Didn't have his best game, but kind of one of those nights where he did enough to get by. I thought Rui Hachimura was really good in that game for them, and I just joked a little bit about it, but I thought that moment with Braun and Bronny was really cool. I don't know if just as I've gotten older, I've become, softened, and I enjoy those things more. But I remember when the Griffeys played together, and how cool that was. It was fun to see that moment, and also really smart by J.J. Redick to get it done, because now he's not going to be asked about it every single day until it did happen. So good on him. Now it's over and done with, and it'll happen again at some other point this year, but it's no longer going to be a thing that it's going to be, hey, JJ, when are you going to do this? JJ, when are you going to do this?
Did you take a little special delight in number 18 banner going up one more than the Lakers the other night, Keith?
Yeah, you could say more than a little. I was pretty excited. It was, I always say, nobody does it like the Celtics do. They can bring out a group of legends.
Boston does ceremony better than anybody. Red Sox, Patriots do it.
Yeah, and part of that comes with they've had an awful lot of practice, so they ought to be pretty good at it by now. But it was really cool. I mean, it was really neat to see all the legends there and to see how much it meant to the guys, and then to watch them. They're coming in with such a different point of view than any defending champion that I can really remember. Where Joe Mazzulla has really drilled into these guys. You didn't accomplish anything, and no one really cares. Go do it again. And then you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown coming off their summers, whether it's invented controversy or they have a right to be angry. That's for everybody to decide on their own. But then you've even got the one that I think went overlooked a little. Kristaps Porzingis said at media day, I don't really feel like I deserve this championship ring. I wasn't a big enough part of it, so I want to go get us one, myself that I'm a part of when I get back. And one, that's nonsense. He was a huge part of it, and he, had some big games in the finals. But yeah, I mean, they are coming in with a completely different sense of motivation, and I think they are committed to, we're going to play basketball differently. We're going to see this team push the heck out of a 50% three-point rate with their shots, because they are committed to, we're going to play all shooters on the floor at all times, and we're going to hoist them if they're open.
Absolutely. The other big news today, Joel Embiid, now NBA investigating him after his absence from the 76ers. He didn't play last night. It doesn't sound like he's going to play maybe the next game either. Do you think anything comes from this?
I don't think anything's going to come from the investigation. Maybe they get fined. We'll see. I don't think it'll be anything that any of us will really care about. I know it's not going to be like draft pick punishment or anything like that. But what is weird is that they continue to maintain there's been no injury. Well, he played in the Olympics, went away. The next thing we heard is Joel Embiid lost all this weight and looks fantastic. And then he shows up and but he needs an extra week or two to get ready for the season beyond the regular training camp. And it's like, well, what happened? Maybe they do come out and say, there was a little tweak or something like that. The air of mystery that they've left around this, that's why you're getting all this rampant speculation of, well, this is what's really going on. And it's odd. It's kind of, I referred to it earlier today as this is like Hawaii East. It's just, what is going on with this situation? Then you have on top of it Paul George, who suffered the injury. And I did have a couple people ask, well, why are they, investigating? It's clear, Joel Embiid is hurt, but it isn't, because they said he's not. They just said he's just not ready to play yet, and he still needs time to get ready. Well, the player participation policy is on a national TV game, if you're not hurt, you better play. and he didn't, so that's why the investigation's happening.
Yeah, interesting stuff to start the year for them. Keith, as always, we love having you on talking the NBA. Enjoy these games, and we'll do it again next week.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Keith, so much. Keith Smith with us every week from Spot Track in the Front Office Show on all things NBA. He was on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Brian, James Wiseman, it has been what a story that's unfolded from coming from Innsworth to Memphis to play for Coach Hardaway at East, part of that great East team that I thought was a tad overdone when people were talking about the greatest team that's ever been in Shelby County. No way, but whatever. And then the only three games with the Tigers. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Only 3 games for them.
And now star-crossed and snake-bitten in the NBA, and what a shame. Great player that just has never had a chance to really be in full bloom.
Yeah, just can't catch a break. I mean, it really felt like, I loved what Keith said, because it felt like there was a lot of optimism about, it felt like, late there with Golden State, there'd be times where he'd come back from an injury and, he'd kind of give you a little bit of something and then be another injury. And, they kind of gave up on him, sent him up to Detroit. Really couldn't get anything going there because of injuries, but had some flashes. And now it felt like, okay, this is an opportunity for him. Get to Indiana. He's looking good. Maybe he can do something for them. And literally first game of the season, gets injured. Is now going to be out for the year. I just hate it for him. It's awful.
Remember the East could beat the Tigers crowd?
I now that you mentioned that,
among the dumbest humans I've ever heard.
I do kind of remember that. I tried to ignore that when it happened because that is crazy. But yes, you're right. It was there, and still sounds crazy when you say it. But I definitely hate seeing this for James Wiseman. Again, an Achilles injury last night, and he'll be out for the entire season. Let me remind you about our 4 o'clock sponsor. That's Wilson's Pro Wash. Do me a favor. Picture your home beautifully clean and pristine. Does that seem impossible? Well, not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins. So give them a call at 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we got to talk the NFL. A lot of NFL news. Also, Thursday Night Football tonight in California for the Vikings versus the Rams. We'll talk all of that next on Sports Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
The best I-dos start with Sissy's Blue. Discover bridal jewelry worthy of your big day at Sissy's Log Cabin, along with our spectacular experience that comes with our promise of exceptional quality, service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Experience our expansive selection when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Find your perfect engagement ring only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I got him on the line right now, Marty McNade over at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's happening, dude?
I'm going back in time, Randy, with 0% for 60 months on all 2024 Tiguan's. When's the last time you've heard that?
It's been a while, Marty. Hey, what else you got?
I've got all Peak Edition Atlases at $5,000 off MSRP.
That's awesome. Every Peak Edition Atlas, $5,000 off MSRP.
Or take your pick from 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month.
2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month. Great Scott McNade, you do got it going on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
As for me, Marty McNade at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and remember, your future is what you make of it.
Get out here and see us, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online, GossipVWG.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They moved this right to the side on 40 westbound, just past Sycamore View Road, right before you start up on that 240 flyover. Of course, we're not real concerned about it being westbound because the heaviest flow is going the other direction on 40 east now from Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. That's really starting to crank up with that traffic volume headed on out towards Fayette County. Still moving over here right now on 240 as you get on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in the Memphis area. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, the residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Well, it's Thursday, so that means Thursday night football in the NFL. And tonight, Vikings on the road against the LA Rams. 5-1 versus 4-2. The game will be on Prime Video. But as always, if you can't watch it or you're out and about, you can listen to it right here on Sports 56. We'll have coverage of that game tonight starting at 7 p.m. While I'm telling you about that, let me tell you about this weekend. Saturday, Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. We'll have complete coverage with pregame and postgame of that game starting at 9 a.m. And then Sunday, like we always do, we'll have an NFL triple header. Jets, Patriots at noon, Bills, Seahawks at 3 p.m., and then Cowboys, 49ers to end the night with Sunday Night Football. But tonight, all eyes on Vikings and Rams. Vikings coming off a loss last week against the Lions. Brett, what do you expect to see from them tonight?
I expect tonight to see Sam Darnold in a homecoming for him. He's a Los Angeles youngster and played college at USC. I think he will have a big night. Looks like the Rams have packed it in to me.
Yeah, no, it's been a weird year for the Rams. I think packing would probably be
real
better
good
word.
division.
Yeah.
What's their path to the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't think they really have one for Minnesota. They win tonight, have the long break until Sunday night football next week at home. That they can get right back with things going well. That game Sunday against Detroit was one of the best games of the year in the NFL.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was. It was a fantastic game, and this Vikings team has been one of the bigger surprises of the season this year. They've just been playing so well, and it looks like tonight, you talk about that Rams team, I'm not positive about Cooper Kupp, if he will play or not, but it looks like Puka Nacua will be active tonight for the Rams. So they've been they've been missing out on both their 2-star receivers for most of the season. Maybe Puka Nacua is able to play tonight and maybe can give them some sort of pop. But you're right. I mean, 2-4 right now. They've not looked good. Yeah, they're coming off a win, but against the Raiders, I just think it's going to be tough for them. And you're already seeing some people with real ideas out there, real reports that they could move Cooper Kupp before the deadline.
Well, if they're going to trade him, I bet they don't play him because they don't want anything happening to him.
Probably not.
But before that, and Sean McVay, widely considered one of the great coaches in the NFL, young mind, won a Super Bowl and has had a lot of success, but Kroenke. I mean, he went all in for that one Super Bowl year.
That's right.
And then kind of, I'm worried about sweet sales and signage and football. So what?
Sure, and so they were great. They were playing really well, but now this year they just have not looked very good at all. And I think I think there's a lot to it.
Over and under 47.5. We've had some wild ones the last couple of Thursdays. Do you think that continues?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, let's get something going here with chaos on Thursday nights. I would like that, but that total is interesting, but I don't really know how to feel about this game in any way.
We'll get Doug Kazarian to pick that when he joins us in about an hour from Las Vegas, doing his own thing now. He was with ESPN for a long time, and now he's with OnlyFans.com out in Vegas, and he's a Los Angeles native. We'll ask him about that game. Sunday, it starts. Did you think in the preseason, when we got to the last Sunday of October, it would be 2-5 Jets versus 1-6 Patriots to start the Sunday?
No, I could have believed one of those. Maybe 1-6 Patriots would have been easy to guess, but Jets, no chance. I mean, this was supposed to be that bounce back year. Aaron Rodgers is healthy now. Everything's going in the right direction. The Jets are going to be fine, and now you look up and the sky's falling. Maybe the sky has already fallen. Oh, for the Jets? Yeah. No, this looks like a whole franchise issue.
Mercurial owner, and that's being kind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with the talent they have right now, if it can't be done, that's a good point. It might not ever be able to be done.
And here comes the Bengals, now 1 under 500, kind of doing their slow start, getting it rolling thing. They kind of use September as training camp. I would suggest that a lot of these teams, you better try July and August as training camp.
Sure, yes, I'm with you. But, I think a good opportunity for them on Sunday. The Eagles, I know they're 4-2. I've not been very impressed with them at all this season. So for the Bengals at home, playing better football, I think right now they're a 3-point favorite. I think they can win that game at home against the Eagles. And then you look up, if you're the Bengals, now you're playing 500 ball, and you kind of look ahead.
Raiders, you're back live.
Yeah. Exactly, and Raiders the next week. So, I mean, a very good opportunity for the Bengals in that big game the following week on the road against Baltimore to be above 500, and that'd be massive for them.
The Bengals still show, talking about owners, mercurial owners, they still show a lot of signs of a not serious franchise, but a serious face of the franchise in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Definitely. And for one of those, you just always worry about his health, and if he can stay up, he's fantastic. But it's keeping him out there, and I think you always have a chance if he's starting the game for you.
Falcons and Buccaneers on Sunday. Atlanta the favorite in Tampa.
Yeah, how about that? And this Buccaneers team.
We'll pick that game tomorrow.
Wow, we will. And so I still don't know where I'm at on that game, but this Buccaneers team has been fun to watch. The Falcons, they're 4-3, but it almost feels like they've been doing that in the shadows. I mean, it doesn't feel like many people are paying close attention to what they're doing. They lost last week against the Seahawks, but before that, rattled off 3 straight wins, one of those wins being at home against this Buccaneers team. So, maybe Tampa Bay out for some revenge.
How come Buffalo's a 3-point favorite at Seattle Sunday?
It's a good question. I think that's just maybe people buying in on that quarterback and this team for Buffalo.
Is it that good? Is it even the best that quarterback this team for Buffalo?
Probably not, but I think it's more of you've got those factors. I don't think people really trust Seattle right now. They're 4-3 right now, but kind of another team that who are you doing that against? You look up at Seattle and they, have a loss against the Giants. It was a very narrow win against the Patriots. And, so I think it's just people thinking maybe, this is just a better team going up against a weaker opponent. But that's an interesting line because I do think Seattle's been playing some good football.
And I apologize. I don't know if it was flexed or not from a noon game to 3:25 to the afternoon window, but Bears and Commanders,
it's gonna be a good one.
And if Jaden Daniels can go, look at those Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks in that one. Does John Harden still crack on the Commandos?
I think he does. Yes, a lot of things with John. People will ask me, does he ever bring this up anymore? Does he ever talk about this? A lot of it just kind of it's become like my DNA with John is I just kind of it happens and I don't realize what he's talking about because I'm so used to it. So yes,
isn't
probably.
that the beauty of that wonderful mind?
It is a beautiful mind, and I know I'm heading out here, just a little sidebar. I'm heading to Houston High School after this show. They're playing a Thursday night game tonight. The football team is, and he has informed me that he is also going to be there tonight.
Reunion night for the Mustangs.
Houston, and so
2 most famous Houston Mustangs ever.
That's right.
John Harden and Bryant Dacus.
That's right. One way more popular than the other. But I've already been talking to him. I've already talked to Coach Thomas. Everybody making sure John stays in check, and we got to keep an eye on John at the football games.
Isn't that something? We have to keep an eye on somebody at a high school football game.
Again, back to that beautiful mind of his. I mean,
y'all still have the great cheeseburger at the concession stand at Houston?
You know what? I'll find out tonight.
At Landers Field, no less.
That's right.
Houston
That's right. I'll find out tonight. This will be my first game there this season. I've been working with Christian Brothers and Eli. He does the broadcast there, so I haven't been able to get to a game. But this week, since they're playing on a Thursday, I'll be there. So I'll have to check out the cheeseburger, and I'll report back to you.
Brian, do you enjoy going to high school football?
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it.
I'm kind of sorry I didn't go last Friday.
Sure, yeah.
The weather was nice.
It sure was. But no, I mean, football's football, and so a lot of times any way you can get it, you like to see it, and especially over at Houston with Coach Thomas. He's my defensive coordinator, now doing a great job as the head coach. So love going and supporting him as well.
That'd be fun. But Sunday Bears and Commanders. I hope Jaden Daniels can go. They're worried about that injury. That was one of those injuries. I was talking about Steve McNair and just what a champ guy and tough player he was. That's that injury when that muscle is torn loose from the rib bone.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like that's very comfortable.
No, it does not sound like an injury. First off, I would want. Second off, I'd want to play through. But
can't imagine it sleeping would be very good with it, or anything would be very good with it.
No, so I hope he is able to go because you're right. That would be a great quarterback matchup. The two really big rookies that have been playing really really well this year at that quarterback position, and on one side you've got Jaden Daniels who's been doing it really all season long, and then on the other side Caleb Williams. First couple games maybe a little rough for him, but ever since then it's really been clicking. And he's looked really, really good. So, no, I'm excited for that one. Another game where you've got a significant road favorite with, right now, the Bears, a 3-point favorite on the road. And I'm sure, depending on Jaden Daniels, that line's definitely going to move.
Now, Brian, back to high school tonight. Is tonight the final regular season, this weekend the final regular season week, or is next week?
Next week. So
here it is.
Yeah, it's come and gone.
Speaking
it's
of
shocking. It
next
definitely
week's
is.
Halloween.
That's
next
right.
week's the end of regular season.
Crazy.
And then the 17 weeks of TWSWA
right.
playoffs begin, right?
Yes, the long, grueling playoffs.
Everybody makes the playoffs.
That's right. Yes, but no, Houston playing tonight because of the ref shortage in this area. Every team has to play at least one game on Thursday. It's very real. So Houston playing their Thursday night game tonight.
It's approaching that, and it would almost be natural for it to kind of trickle up, for it to start with high school football to get to college, to eventually get to the NFL. We have a real lack of people that want to do it. I think there's a lot of factors why. One is the treatment of them when they get out there, which is deplorable.
Yes, no, you nailed it on the head. It can get ugly sometimes.
But tonight starts high school football. Tomorrow night, this weekend, a lot of tailgating. We want to support high school, college, and pro, and we sure want to support tailgating. And you need to start the tailgating by stopping at Jason's Deli. Any location you can order, like those beef eater slider trays. I'm doing that again this weekend for In the Grove. For In the Grove post game on Saturday, that's always popular. 2 dozen hot roast beef mini sandwiches with provolone and mayo on a potato slider buns. You can get to serve 12, and it comes with all the fixings. The deli slider tailgate package, cold mini sandwiches on potato rolls, 12 roasted turkey, 12 ham salami sliders made with provolone, the fresh fruit tray. Let Jason's Deli do all the work for you for any big event, for all the functions we're having in October, with the festivals, with Halloween functions, school functions, homecoming, tailgating. Let Jason's Deli do it. A variety of delicious choices for every meal: breakfast, lunch, dinner, all-day meals, low delivery fees, professional setup included, same-day, last-minute orders welcomed. When you don't have your event planned just right, step aside, let them step in, and that's when they excel. A location near you, I guarantee it. Over across from MUS on Ridgeway Road, by the University of Memphis at Poplar and Highland, down in Olive Branch, out in Cordova. And the food is healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice at Jason's Deli, with plenty of organic food to choose from. Again, catering anytime, anywhere, 5 or 5,000, they have you covered. And in all the restaurant locations, complimentary free ice cream. And in every location, that great salad bar with over 30 items to choose from for you to prepare your salad however you would like at lunch or dinner time. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Let's get to another break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
Scott Graham here for Thursday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up, NFC action when Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams host the Vikings. At 5-1, Sam Darnold and Minnesota are coming off their first loss of the season. Now, they face Matthew Stafford and the Rams, coming off a win over the Raiders. Ryan Ratke and former NFL head coach Ron Rivera have the call on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect, please? 'Cause I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of Cashew Crunch, of Heavenly Hash, of Turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today. 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, Brett, my big number today comes from the NBA, and it has to do with the Memphis Grizzlies. My big number is the number 5. Last night, the story of the game was Santi Aldama. He was fantastic, 27 points. He had 2 assists, 5 rebounds, but my big number comes from what he did behind the arc. 5 made three-pointers for Santi Aldama. He was 5 for 10. Missed a couple early, but then after that was really hot from deep. So that's my big number, 5 last night. He had 5 made three-pointers. It was the 5th time in his career he has made 5 or more threes in a game, with the other 4 times all coming last year. As we know, a big opportunity for him last night with Jaren out, some other guys injured, but last year a big role for him with everybody out. If he can continue to do this and knock down threes for the Grizzlies, we'll have to see it from him coming off the bench throughout the season, I'm sure, when everybody comes back and is healthy. But Santi looked really, really good last night, and I would love to see him continue to find success from shooting that 3 ball, because that would really help the Grizzlies.
And he's the player DeMichael Cole thinks that, kind of the off-Broadway players that could have a big role.
Yeah.
And for him to emerge, it would put him in to special fondness by Grizzlies fans.
Absolutely.
And more importantly for him, into a very special tax bracket.
Absolutely. It's a contract year
It's
for
there
him.
for him.
So, yeah, it's a big season for him.
You were all around it. I was afraid we were going to have the same one. My big number is 8. My big number concerns the Grizzlies, but 8 is the number with the win last night for Taylor Jenkins. That's how many wins he's away from being the winningest coach in Grizzlies history.
Wow.
If he can get to 8 more, he will. He's going to pass Lionel Hollins. Now, when will he? So it's 392 games to this point for Taylor Jenkins. It took Lionel 415, or he coached in 415 games in his Grizzlies career. So we're getting really close to. I think Taylor Jenkins is going to do it in less games.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow, I knew he was close. I don't know if I knew he was that.
He would have
close.
got it last year.
Yeah,
if last
for
year
sure.
had been anywhere close to not weird.
Wow, that's a good word for it. It was a very weird season, but now everyone's seemingly healthy, and the guys that aren't healthy, it feels like they'll be back soon. And so it was good to get off with a win last night, but certainly for Taylor Jenkins and that record, I'm with you. I think it comes pretty soon.
Did you see the story that's out there right now at ESPN.com about how much action they had on the Bronny James, whether he scores or not? The over and under was 0.5.
Okay.
That means if he gets in the scoring book,
that's right.
you win. And that they had an unusually large amount of bets and had two-way action. That's the Vegas dream come true.
Yeah, wow.
Two-way action.
Wow. See, I couldn't find any game props that night for Bronny James on any of the sports books I have access to. So that was a shame. But that didn't surprise me, because I heard a lot of people talking about
it. Sounds like.
That's what it felt like. But I saw a lot of people wanting to try to find a place where they could put some action on Bronny James opening night. So that doesn't surprise me.
In the story, they referenced a sports bettor from Maryland placed a $2,500 bet on Bronny to score over 1.5 with FanDuel at minus 135.
The over was minus 135?
No, the odds were minus 135.
For him to go to have over 1.5 points?
Uh-huh.
Interesting. Huh.
He didn't get there.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised that was minus 135. That's kind of crazy. But hey, sorry that fellow lost money.
He'll get another shot at it Friday night.
I guess so. I would not go back to that well if I was.
No, I don't know if I would keep trying that.
No. Maybe one time, and then that's it.
Come on now.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I would have gone with the under in that one, but I guess hindsight's 20/20. I probably would have gone with the under beforehand too. But hey, to each is their own. Well, we're about to get to a break here in a second, but we're getting closer to dinner time. I know a lot of people are out there maybe thinking about what to get tonight, or maybe what to get this weekend. Well, Memphis is known for barbecue, and you can get the world-famous Memphis-style barbecue any night at the Commissary. With locations in Germantown and Collierville, stop in for lunch or dinner, or get it to go. Start your meal with one of their appetizers like the cheese plate, chicken wings, or my favorite, the barbecue nachos. For more than 40 years, the Commissary has been a staple in this area, and a big part of it is because of the quality food they serve. My go-to are the ribs, but it's hard to resist the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled. Get it by the plate or by the pound. It also comes in handy with their sandwich packs. Feed the whole group with a 6-pack, 8-pack, even a 12-pack. And don't forget about dessert, like the delicious banana pudding. a brownie, or the lemon ice box pie. Check out the entire menu and catering options at commissarybbq.com. Whether it's a watch party for your favorite team or a tailgate, let the commissary cater your next event. Give them a call at 901-754-5540 and make any event perfect. Stop in today at either location. In Germantown, open daily until 8 p.m. and in Collierville, open until 9 p.m. for the world-famous Memphis-style barbecue at the commissary. Well, let's get to another break, wrap up hour number 2, and when we come back, we're talking Tigers with Greg Gaston.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
It's here, Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. It's $10,000 today. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special 2-day event this Friday and Saturday. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and zero interest financing on a stunning selection of luxurious pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got Rolex Golds, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, the hottest model Rolex watches that you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine, light new condition, some just out of the box. Price to sell at this event. Listen to this. We'll purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event. Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat black gold diamond stud earrings for free. That's a $3,000 value. Listen to Rolex stars. Our pre-owned Rolex buyers are on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. See the largest selection of Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing. Plus get a pair of 2-carat black gold diamond stud earrings free. It's this Friday and Saturday only at Genesis Diamonds on Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
All 24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE834 938, MSRP 22615, Telluride RG56 3000, MSRP 40805, Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, are you ready to give the Mid-South your best deal ever at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah?
I'm always ready, Randy. Gas prices got you down? How about 41 MPG highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS at $233.86 a month? $34.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sport is $269 per month. $34.99 do it signing. And get ready for the holidays and hit the road in a 2024 Kia Telluride S, $408.62 per month. $39.99 do it signing. All 24-month lease.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online anytime at KiaMountMoriah.com.
Riz Nation, join John, Jared, Dez, and your Memphis Grizzlies for opening night this Saturday at 7 p.m. Arrive early for the pregame plaza party, and the first 10,000 fans receive a Grizzlies Classic reversible bucket hat. Secure your tickets today at Grizzlies.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There were some troopers out a little bit earlier on I-40 as you come out of Shelby County into Fayette County. That's only going to get busier out through there in the next few minutes, so give yourself extra travel time. As it picks up over here on 240 East up by Poplar, 240 still looks pretty good at the moment on the 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Hey, Vet Tech Workshop for Teens are back at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. If you have a child that's interested in veterinarian medicine, check out the Vet Tech Workshop this Saturday at 10:30. Log on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Once again, our Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact.
Welcome back in to Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. And we do it every single Thursday, talking Tigers with Greg Gaston. Plenty to get to today. Tiger football. The basketball team has their final exhibition game Monday night against Alabama. So let's go ahead and talk some Tigers with Greg Gaston.
From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joins us to talk Tigers. And Greg, let's start with the football team. Another win for them last week at home against North Texas, a game that involved a whole lot of offense, a whole lot of points, and kind of what we've been talking about all year was, would that offense be able to put up that many points? There's been questions about this offense. They were able to do it Saturday against North Texas. What did you take away from that win for the Tigers?
Yeah, look, I always knew that the offense was capable, but it all depends on how the defense wants to play Memphis, if they want to drop 8 back and try to force them to run the ball, take away the passing game. So there have been games this year where they obviously didn't score a ton of points, and for whatever reason, even though they won, it upset Tigers fans. Well, now they showcase their offense that they can score a bunch of points. I expect a similar result on Saturday as far as scoring points. But now it's probably, what's wrong with the defense? That's the second time they played a team that has a good offense and they gave up a bunch of points. So you can't win either way. But really the bottom line, and Brett knows all about this, the bottom line is the bottom line, and that's wins and losses. So no matter what it takes to win a football game, the Tigers are 6-1. But it was nice to see Mario Anderson. That's why they brought him in from South Carolina. That's why he's getting good NIL money to do the things he did with a 4-touchdown game. And, of course, Seth Hennigan, we know how steady Eddie he is. He threw the deep ball, I thought, really, really well. So, yeah, offensive explosion in that game. And they needed all those points as the North Texas team came in with a very potent offense, and they showcased that as well.
Saturday and 2 more home games for the Tigers this year, potentially still a chance to host an AAC championship game to see the greatest quarterback in Tiger history. One more touchdown pass, and he will tie Brady White with 90. I think he's going to get one more. I think he's going to get a bunch more, and he's going to be the number one quarterback all time in a program that's produced a lot of great quarterbacks.
He has been a true consummate performer, and I think he has held himself up so well since the day he walked in here. He's a coach's son, so he knows about that. He knows about team first. He's not much into patting himself on the back. He wants to spread the wealth to everybody, and that's one of the things I really like about Seth. Now, there's going to be people that will look at the numbers, and just because he'll probably own all these records, say that he's not the best quarterback in the history of the school, and I can understand that. They've had some great quarterbacks. They've been on a great run with quarterbacks. But I just don't know if he is going to get the respect that he deserves. Brady White got it. Paxton Lynch got it. Ferguson got it. We've had a history of these quarterbacks putting up big numbers, and the people seem to acknowledge that. I don't know if they've acknowledged what Seth Hennigan has meant to this program, to be honest with you.
It took Brady White a while to get it, even was booed at the AAC championship game at halftime on the way to the Cotton Bowl. I think what helped Paxton Lynch so much was the 2015 win over Ole Miss when he just made some all-time throws. Riley Ferguson, I don't know that I can pinpoint his signature college win, but he had what would it be, Greg? He had them, but one other thing that helped Brady White was the game day win.
Well, there's no question about it. He had those marquee victories, and you mentioned Paxton's win over Ole Miss. The thing with Ferguson was he follows up Paxton Lynch, and certainly people were like, how do you replace a guy who was a first-round draft pick? And then he was bombs away. He was like the mad bomber. He was Daryl LaMonica. He was like chucking it down the field, and people fell in love with him. And then Brady comes in, and you're absolutely right. I mean, they were calling for Brady's head for a while there because we know that people have patience, right? We understand that with sports fans. They have all kinds of patience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the most patient people on earth, Greg.
Including the host.
Exactly. So Brady did his thing and set all types of records, and, he had marquee wins. Seth doesn't really have the marquee win, to be honest with you. He's just consistently won a bunch of games.
Yeah,
and
Liberty
last
Bowl?
year they had probably the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game from last year. I don't want to get Harold mad. Yeah, it was probably last year's game. But if they are in the position where they only have the one loss going into the Thanksgiving evening game in New Orleans against Tulane, and they can win that game, and there's been a little chaos with Army and Navy, that would probably, for the time being, become the marquee win.
That's a big John Hancock signature win.
That is. And again, you want it to mean more than just you beat Tulane, you won a Thanksgiving Day game, you went 11-1, which is fantastic, nothing to sneeze at, but you hope it has meaning that gets you into the championship game.
Riley Ferguson's signature win, UCLA, 398 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception.
In 2017.
2017, that's right.
No doubt, Brian. Yeah. That's it. Good catch.
Thank you. I had to go back and look to make sure he was the quarterback that year, but because I could not remember who was the quarterback in that game. But definitely a good one there. So this weekend now for the Tigers, home game against Charlotte, big favorites for good reason. The Charlotte team is not very good. Unfortunately, I watch a lot of Charlotte football. They should be able, especially this defense, should be able to have a really good game. What do you think about this game on Saturday against Charlotte?
Yeah, I think they'll be able to score a bunch of points. Charlotte is not a great defensive team, but the question is, will Memphis be able to handle their running attack? Last year in Charlotte, if you guys recall, Memphis twice late in that game was down 10. They were running all over Memphis. They could not stop them. And that's what Poggi wants to do. Biff Poggi wants to run it down your throat. I mean, they'll throw the ball, don't get me wrong, but they will try to run it down your throat, and if they have success, they'll continue to do that. So certainly Memphis wants to be able to score at will, but get some defensive stops, and if so, you won't have to worry about trying to pull it out in the end. They scored 10 points in the final 5:25 in Charlotte last year and then won it in overtime. So you don't want a close shave. You want to take care of business against this Charlotte team. And then hopefully, if that's the case, you set your sights on UTSA on the road. Not as strong a Roadrunners team as we've seen in the past, but certainly capable, especially at home.
Greg, we have Coach Tommy West with us every Wednesday at 3:30. And yesterday we asked him if he ever – Brian asked him. It was the best question, I think, of the year to Coach West, Brian. I do. He asked him when he was here, did he ever think this program could get – to this point, now eligible, 11 straight years for bowls, all these quarterbacks we talk about, all these star players, and he didn't blink. He goes, yes, I knew so. And that's what I kept preaching and telling, let's get committed. Greg, tough question for you. Did you ever think this program could get to this point in your years of being in this market and covering this team so closely?
Probably not. Because when I started covering the team,
I'm with you in all honesty, Greg. I am with you.
It was back in late '95, and I'm doing Rip's shows, the Rip Shear show, and Memphis was losing 13-3 and 16-7, and Rip was great. I mean, he had good defenses, but they were far away from getting to a bowl game, which had long eluded them. And then finally the breakthrough with Tommy. But then we all know the famous exit speech from Tommy, where he called out the program, called out the administrators, and said, listen, if you want a program to have sustainability and to consistently be good, then you have to invest in it. And then, of course, we follow that up with two of the worst years you could possibly have, all due respect to the former Tiger Larry Porter. He was just over his head, and it was a disaster. So you wondered where it was going to go from there. And then eventually the commitment was made. They started to get recruits. It happened under Justin Fuente, not his first year, but it happened under Fuente. Then Mike Norvell took it to another level. And again, with Ryan Silverfield, he's held serve for the most part, but you have to get to the conference championship game. I think that's what people will do somersaults over. Sure, the icing on the cake is if you end up getting to the playoff as the group of 4 representative, or group of 5, whichever way you want to look at it. But certainly the goal is to get to the championship game. So they haven't got to that point yet, but they've had the sustainability. Mm-hmm. They've had the consistency. They've won a bunch of games. So Tommy said, if you invest, it'll happen. They've invested. It has happened. But again, to answer your question, I probably, to be honest with you, did not think they would get to that level where they've gone 11 straight games making it to a bowl game.
That's Greg Gaston right there. That's a straight shooter. Greg Gaston with us every week from the Tiger Sideline, brought to you by Dyer's Hamburgers, Crab Kings, and the Crazy Coop. Your explanation, Greg, was almost identical to mine. I did say in those years that if they ever won, how much fun it would be around here. I know a lot of years of, all y'all can do is talk the SEC. I know that, but there's a reason why. There's a lot of interest. I said all those years, give us something to talk about, and we will, and we have, and I think people have responded very well to this sustained success.
They have, but now I start to wonder if they're taking bowl games for granted. I really do wonder if that is the case, because once you start to win, Brett, they want you to win more. And then they start to dissect, well, who did you play? What games did you play? Well, you'd only play the schedule in front of you. And even though you've had some marquee wins, well, you didn't have enough marquee wins. That's the issue. Now, I'll tell you this. Here's one thing. You asked me that question about what I thought would they ever be in this position. And I was honest with you. No, I didn't think so. However, in the back of my mind, I always thought if they could get to another conference that has cachet, which was for a while there that Big East that looked like it would be, and of course that went belly up as far as football and the Tigers. And then it was, well, what about these other conferences, these power conferences? And then lo and behold, we know the history. UCF and Cincinnati and Houston and now SMU. If Memphis was in a power conference with the backers they have, the FedEx Corporation behind them, I do believe it wouldn't take that long for Memphis to be a player. I'm not saying they're knocking off Alabama. I'm not saying that. But I think they wouldn't be a bottom dweller for that long, because I think the commitment would be there. We know how much talent comes from this general area. And most of these kids that are really, really talented are going somewhere else, especially those now with NIL who can really get a lot of money. Memphis does okay NIL, but it doesn't compare to some of these schools, especially in the SEC. Well, if you're able to have that type of money because you're in a power conference, you may be able to keep a lot of those guys, at least a good portion of them. Obviously, the better players, the more capable you are to having success in whatever conference you are. I've always believed, give Memphis a chance. Let's see what they can do. And unfortunately, they still are waiting for that chance.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Greg Gaston. Greg, I'm curious, we haven't talked to you since the, start and, as far as we know, end of the Tyreek Smith situation that happened earlier this week. What did you make of that story?
Well, it's a sad state for where we are with the NIL. Not that players, athletes are being paid. I have no problem whatsoever with the athletes being compensated. But once they open up Pandora's box with really no rules and regulations, and states all having different rules and regulations, it's a hot mess. It really is. And in this particular situation, that's why I went to social media. I know there's there's some leakage going on over at the University of Memphis where some people are getting information. Unfortunately, journalism today, in my opinion, is very shoddy. There are some really good journalists. When it comes to Memphis basketball, we have two good beat writers in Jason Munns and Parth Upadhyay, but there's other people who now have podcasts or they have whatever the case may be, and they're quick to get information out once they hear it, thinking that they don't have to get a second source or a third source or get it from the horse's mouth. They'll throw it out there, and if it doesn't stick, there's no repercussions. This was a situation where they were right that Tyreke Smith had walked away. He didn't walk away permanently. They made it sound like Tyreke Smith had left the program and was already looking at other opportunities. Well, his handler said that wasn't the case, and Penny Hardaway this morning also said that wasn't the case. He said he needed a couple of personal days. He took the personal days. It's no mistake that what they talked about being the problem, the money, was certainly the money. There was no other thing. It was the money that was the issue. But I don't know if it was misunderstanding or whatever the case may be. But Penny reiterated that he never left the program. But Penny also said that we have to keep these things under wrap because when they become public, we're under a microscope, and it really can start a wildfire. So he didn't need that headache, not getting ready for the start of the season. But Tyreke Smith back in the fold. Looks like everybody's happy until the next time something happens, whether it be with this program, which is certainly not drama-free, or other programs around the country, whether it's a Hall of Fame type coach who leaves a couple of weeks before the start of the season, or other players that are going to not be satisfied with their NIL deals. That's the world we live in right now.
Folks, that's 30 years in this market, 40 years of experience speaking, and when he speaks, you ought to listen. Greg, that is well
Thanks,
said.
Brad.
And I do like this, though, Greg. I do like the non-traditional citizen, journalist, whether it's website or Twitter site or whatever site you want to have, and I trust the market to weed that out. If you put out something outlandish a couple times, trash in, trash out, I'm not listening to you anymore. And then you go to the TV stations that we respect. You go to those two people we respect. You go to DM, the CA that we respect. And I think the marketplace will sort it out. Do you join me in trusting the marketplace?
Cool. I maybe with what you're saying, that's a possibility. But I'm worried that there's too many people out there that got their hands involved in this particular program. I think if I'm Penny, the first thing I got to figure out is where the leaks are coming from, because a lot of the information that's getting out there,
leaks, the dam is burst.
It's a dam that's burst, and let me tell you something. Some of that stuff has been on target. They haven't always been wrong, right? Sometimes there's a hint of truth, but sometimes it's right on cue, and that would worry me in running my program, that something's going on with that information getting out there, because that's not what you need. You don't need more drama, and this program can't get away from drama.
See, this is what I think. This is what I think Coach Hardaway ought to do. This is when he should give Parth and Jason even more access, more rather than less. Don't play recluse with them. Don't play closed mouth with them. Give them more where people will know I can go to these two places and I know I'm getting reliable stuff.
Yeah, I like that. I also like this, and I think you'll agree with me. If one of these respected reporters, journalists, broadcasters, whoever it is, has a story that is honest and truthful and legitimate and has sources, but it may not put the university or the program in the most flattering situation, they have to be allowed to do that. There can't be repercussions. There cannot be repercussions if it happens to be a story that needs to be told. Sure, they're always going to look for the positive. They're going to write a lot of stories about individuals and how they got to this point, and maybe guys who have overcome hardships and things like that. That's what you want. You want to see positives about the game, who starred in the game, who stepped up. But if there's a story, a legitimate story that needs to be told, they have to be able to tell that. That has been
without repercussion. That's right. Without being frozen out.
Yeah, and that's been a problem across the board. I'm talking about nationally, internationally,
Grizzlies.
with journalists. Oh my gosh!
Everybody,
it's a real
Congress,
problem.
right?
That was never a problem before with journalists back in the day. They used to, and of course, you go back in history. They used to ride the trains with the teams themselves, and they were never afraid to put something out negative, and they were never held to the point where they weren't going to get that information. Now you write something negative about an organization or team, you're going to hold it against you. I mean, from Deion Sanders to so many different outlets that, we only want positive. Well, as long as you've earned that positive, you're going to get the positive. They're not out to get you. I don't think anybody's out to get you. But if there's a story, again, a legitimate story, not crap, not rumorville, not something that's not sourced with a couple of reliable sources, right? At least two sources, I've always said, especially if you can get it from when the coach tells you this is what happened and you still stick to your gun, no, this happened, and you're wrong, well, then you should pay the price. People should call you out. In the day and age that we live in now, social media, they're not being called out. That's a problem.
Yeah. Greg, last thing for you real quick before we let you go. Final exhibition Monday night. We won't talk to you before that game against Alabama. Alabama's already played one exhibition against Wake Forest. They were 19 for 46 from three, preseason AP number 2 team in the country. What do you want to see from this Tigers team? Another great matchup, another great test before the regular season starts.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to play the Boston Celtics in Huntsville. So what we're going to see from Penny is, and this is what he talked about this morning, they're going to ramp things up now. He said, listen, against North Carolina, we didn't show a lot of things. We did not show much offensively. We showed some flashes, and we did some good things. We showed a little bit of that pressure defense, but we really didn't show our offensive sets. So I expect, even if they lose the game, I mean, you're talking about a top 5 team here. Even if they lose the game, you want to see improvement from what we saw, especially in the second half of that game against North Carolina. We want to see improvement. We're going to see the full slate of players. Moussa Cisse, who did not play against North Carolina, has been practicing. Penny said he's going to play. He also said Dane Danju had a little bit of a back issue, and that's why he maybe didn't perform up to par against North Carolina. He tweaked something, but he said he's feeling really good. He'll be ready to go. So you're going to have everybody, knock on wood, before Monday, hopefully nothing happens, that they will go, and I think this is going to be your true dress rehearsal before they open up for keeps on the 4th of November against Missouri. I believe I'm going to be heading to Huntsville, so on Tuesday, because I'm going to join you next week on Tuesday at 3:30, I can give you a full report. Knock on wood, I'll be able to head to Huntsville to watch that game.
That's
great
fantastic.
stuff.
Well, Greg, hopefully, you can make it down there, but as always, we appreciate you hopping on with us, and we'll talk to you again on Tuesday.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Greg Gaston joining us to talk some Tigers, and we need to get to a quick break. Before we do that, let me remind you about Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the 2025 Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower all the way up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Also, take a look at the 2025 Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The 2025 Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months. Financing available with approved credit. And don't forget about the 2025 Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call at 877-259-6169. That's 877-259-6169, or go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. Let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of wagering. Doug Kazarian from OnlyPlayers.com. He joins us next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then do Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, Fall is football.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
For life's spectacular moments, only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
All 24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE834,938, MSRP 22,615, Telluride RG563000, MSRP 40,805, Sportage S73,40278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, are you ready to give the Mid-South your best deal ever at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah?
I'm always ready, Randy. Gas prices got you down? How about 41 MPG highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS at $233.86 a month? $34.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sport is $269 per month. $34.99 do it signing. And get ready for the holidays and hit the road in a 2024 Kia Telluride S, $408.62 per month. $39.99 do it signing. All 24-month lease.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online anytime at KiaMountMoriah.com.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway and the Park Place Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. So we got about 30 minutes left in today's show, and joining us now, Doug Kazarian, nice enough to give us a couple minutes and hopefully give us some plays here. Doug Kazarian from onlyplayers.com. Make sure to go and check out onlyplayers.com. Also, check out his Twitter page. You can follow him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Doug Kazarian. He's always posting great stuff on Twitter as well. Doug, how's it going? Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's good to be with you guys. Crazy busy now with the NBA starting. The sports equinox, as we like to say. I mean, just look at tomorrow, right? You got a marquee college football game, Boise at UNLV, that I'll actually be at. Then you have this full NBA card. You got World Series, NFL weekend, just mayhem. This is the time of year where sports is at its peak, and then college hoops just around the corner.
Now, tomorrow night, the game in Vegas. Can people in Vegas bet on UNLV games?
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. Back in the day, I think John McCain argued with the sports books, when they were trying to get stuff passed and things like that. It's like, well, if it's so above board, why don't you guys have UNLV games and Olympics on the board? And they're like, you know what? That's a great point. And they just started putting them on the board.
Yeah, put them on the board. Tonight in the NBA, anything particular like? I know you're really strong on the Celtics to probably repeat.
Yeah, they're going to have a amazing regular season. Now, it's funny because FanDuel reposted, after we saw them obliterate the Knicks, right? Everyone was blown away, but FanDuel wasn't. They reposted their win total at 58.5, which was the same as it was before the season. And they did plus money on the over, and I just think it's a dumb line. I think this team wins at least 64 games. Basically, there's no reason to think they don't. Last year, they lost 4 of their final 11 games because they had load management. They already locked in the 1 seed. So they won 64 last year. I don't see 6-win drop-off when they took their foot off the gas anyway last year. Their 2 best players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, are in their primes, and they're peaking, so they're more ascending. The bench is getting better and better, and the biggest competition in the East is deteriorating. The Sixers are treating this preseason like, the regular season like a preseason, and then the Knicks are going to need some time to get their pieces sort of assimilated. So while everyone's trying to figure stuff out early on, this team's picking up right where it left off. So I'm all in on the Celtics season over 58.5 wins, and I think coach of the year, I would make Joe Mazzulla the favorite. Just the competition he has in that race is not really there, and we'll see it all play out. I think BetMGM is plus 1,400 right now. There's a lot to like on that price. I think he's going to be plus 600 in a couple of weeks.
And tonight, Boston 12.5 in D.C. against the Wizards, the opening game for the Wizards.
Yeah, the line opened 12.5. It got up to 13.5. There's some 14s right now. Look, it's a giant flat spot, so there's some people taking the dog. I just can't take the plus 14 on a team that has a win total of 20.5 and it's supposed to go under. They're really bad. I think the Celtics' second unit's really good. And the way to play Boston is they were the best team against the spread last year in the first half because that's when they're going kind of gas pedal all the way down, right? Maybe at the end in garbage time they're up 20, the scrubs are in, who knows what happens. But first half team total is another one that you can really get value on. 63.5 points over. And then there's alternate, like we know the Celtics are chucking threes. They had a preseason game against the Denver Nuggets where they had 47 3-pointer attempts. And that's carried over into the regular season. They almost broke the record for made threes the other night. So you can bet right now over 17.5 made threes at plus 130. I think they'll have it through 3 quarters. And so I have a big play on that. And I also have an alternate line, at least 20 made threes plus 300. So there's a lot of ways to make money on this Celtics team and a lot of the props. Take what you know in all these sports. And if you can really isolate stuff, that's the best way to do it.
I love it. Are you talking about the season win total for the Celtics here in Memphis? A lot of people excited about what this year can be for the Grizzlies with everyone back healthy, but it feels like the offseason, the preseason, it feels like nobody really knows what to do with this Grizzlies team. I'm seeing right now their season win total right now sitting at 47.5. What do you think about this one?
It's a tough call. Okay, first of all, you have Triple J hurt a little bit, and then the Ja Morant narrative, and he's going to be obviously on a mission, and he looked good, all things considered, the other night. I do think Taylor Jenkins is right there in the Coach of the Year discussion as well. There's a lot to like with Memphis, but they're just lumped in a pack of teams, and they're just going to have a bunch of coin flip games, and it's really hard to bet win totals that way. Desmond Bane might be the most underrated player in the league. People don't know about him. But, while Zach Edey's going to be effective, he's a weapon they can use in certain matchups, but then there's also a weapon they cannot use him at all in other matchups. So It's going to come down to injuries. If you told me they're going to be healthy the whole season, fine, I'm on the over. But the unknown with like 5 teams, I just think it's an unbettable game. But you got to love what you saw from Aldama on the heels of the Olympics, and he's a guy that they could really, really use to emerge. But I'm excited for some of those bench guys that played really well last year off the G League, like G.G. Jackson, like to come and get healthy and play. Like they might be really deep. And then we've seen their ceiling for the regular season from a couple years ago. There's nothing that can rule that out.
Doug, I promise, not an hour ago, we were talking about, just shockingly, that's 2-5 Jets at 1-6 Patriots. Well, not so shocked about the Patriots, but we are the Jets. A very low over and under on Sunday. Boy, that's low for a preseason game. 40.5 Jets and Patriots total on Sunday.
So I think we're all programmed to think Jets Patriots is going to be a rock fight and go under, right? Like that's what it's been like for the last couple years. But, as far as I know, Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle aren't walking through that door. We have Aaron Rodgers and we have Drake May. Like, what happens with the betting market is it's all stat driven. The math modelers take the stats and do projections. And so a lot of the stats of the Patriots are with Jacoby Brissett because he started a few games. I just think that the change in that from Drake May, to go from Brissett to Drake May is drastically different. I would throw out all the stats when that offense, because he can throw 10 yards downfield. So Drake May, we saw what happened last week, and I don't think the defense, Gerard Mayo called them out as soft. I don't think they all of a sudden turned into the 85 Bears. Like, I just think they are what they are, and they're not very good. So you can call them, they can be motivated, they can be focused, whatever, they're still not good. And I think the Jets need a breakout performance. I think they need to take out their aggression and have to put up some points. So and to your point, we don't need a lot of points. We just need 41 or more. So I think that's my favorite play of the NFL weekend. It's tough. It's a tough card, right? No bye weeks. Just the way the matchups have been unfolded. I think it's a really tough slate of games. So, but I'm looking at the over there.
Saturday in Nashville, Vanderbilt, we call them America's team.
Yeah,
and,
we do.
and
Right.
Diego Pavia, Captain America,
That's right.
They host Texas. How will Texas rebound from really getting walloped by Georgia?
Well, I was hoping Texas would win because we saw what happened to Alabama after beating Georgia to go to Vanderbilt, but that didn't happen. So the question is, what will happen with a team off a loss, ill afford to lose? And I will say, I'm not going to say I was more impressed, but I was equally impressed with Vandy's performance against Kentucky to not have the hangover effect the next week, to actually build on it and win again. That was incredibly impressive and professionally mature. I think that Vanderbilt's going to hang, and they can be annoying, and you can only bet Pavia as an underdog. Like, don't lay points against them. I think you have to throw a little nibble on Texas. Quinn Ewers has not looked good at all. I thought it was just rust. Now, Georgia looked like Georgia of old, but I think you have to grab the points with 18.5 with the doors and just keep riding this team as a dog.
I like it. Doug, last thing for you. What is your favorite game this weekend in college football?
I'm a little bit all over the place. I got to be honest. Like, it's been a tough card to handicap. I have to come up with a bunch of plays for contests I'm in, and I don't really have, like, ones I'm, like, written in pen. I will say Texas Tech plus 6.5 at TCU is probably my favorite play. I think the variance with TCU is there. So if you can get 6.5, and I don't think, their home field advantage isn't that overwhelmingly amazing at TCU. Their defense is pretty bad. Like, I don't care how they looked against Utah with that backup quarterback. That Utah team looked awful on offense last week. So any defense would have been good. And this Tech team can hang around. Now, they've been blown out. Baylor blew them out. Wazoo blew them out. But if they can hang around and kind of muck up and face a TCU defense that's not that great, then I think getting 6.5 points is probably a really strong play. But, they are coming off a blowout at home. There's some games I'm keeping an eye on. Like, literally, I may just watch one series and pounce. Like, I think Penn State can roll Wisconsin. The Badgers have been playing better of late, but they've played bad competition. Penn State can really run all over Wisconsin, and if they do that, they should roll. USC, they should really blow out this game. They're so much better. Rutgers doesn't have a quarterback, and this number's now a flat 14. It was 14.5. Like if USC just keeps it on the ground like Penn State should, they can run all over them as well. So those are the games I kind of need to see, like the body language, if you will, the crowd environment, things like that. And the body clock of Rutgers, it's going to be 11 p.m. kickoff for them. I think the Trojans, this is a get-right game where USC fans, because Lincoln Riley's not on the hot seat, but he's definitely not, the toast of the town right now at the city of Troy.
And that game you're going to tomorrow night, do you have any preference on the over or the under 64.5 in Boise at UNLV?
I lean to the over. This Rebels team's pretty good, man. Their quarterback's dynamic, and I haven't been that impressed with Boise. I lean to the dog plus the 3.5 more than I do the over or something like that. I think this Boise State team, you kind of know what they're going to do. They're going to hand the ball to Ashton Genty, but the Broncos have sort of looked kind of pedestrian at times when they faced Hawaii and things like that. This UNLV team brings it, and frankly, they should be undefeated. I think you can pass on this UNLV defense, but I don't know if Boise's going to do that. And it's easier said than done to stop Genty, but I think the Rebels with their stud wide receivers can match the firepower. I really do. I'm bullish on this UNLV team. I think they're so well coached. Ricky White is going to have a monster game. I do think it's over. A lot of the math guys I've talked to have this number like close to 70. So I think you have to blindly bet it. But what happens was when these tight games, playoff vibe, all that stuff, like it tends to be sort of measured possessions at some point, but it's a big total.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Well, Doug, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you, Doug.
Doug Kazarian joining us from onlyplayers.com. Some good picks from him. Brett, before we get to a break, some breaking news, big time, extremely sad breaking news coming out of the college basketball world right now. About 20 minutes ago, South Florida posted on their social media pages that head coach Amir Abdur-Rahim has passed away at the age of 43. He was undergoing a medical procedure at a Tampa area hospital when he passed away due to complications that arose during the procedure. He was going into his second year as USF's head coach after a unbelievable run at Kennesaw State, and now, unfortunately, has passed away just a couple of weeks before the season starts.
And really made his presence known last year with some big wins, and that is a stunner. That is just awful.
Yeah, just awful. I mean, I'll be honest, Brett.
I'm without words. And I'm supposed to be with words, but I'm not.
One of my favorite coaches to watch last year.
He sure was. You were on that track from Kennesaw with him, and that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
43.
Yeah, it's so sad. It just breaks my heart. I mean, I'm honestly a little shaken right now hearing that news from USF. So definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to the USF community, and obviously that basketball team is now you're going to be very, very hard to get ready for the start of the season without their head coach. But definitely some really sad breaking news. Let's go ahead and get to our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Grand. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Grand.
Jason's Deli. When you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli locations at Ridgeway in the Parkplace Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Highland Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover. Once again,
and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that the NBA season is here. It was such a fun night last night. Not even just the Grizzlies. Yes, the Grizzlies were fun to watch, and I'm glad they won. And I was when that game was on, I was locked in on that game. But before that, at halftime, bouncing around from game to game, just seeing that the NBA was back was just so much fun to watch. And some of those scores, some of those games, got close and were entertaining to watch. I mean, heck, Brett, to start the night, and you have the Pistons, in late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, leading the Pacers, and you thought, maybe the Pistons start off 1-0 this year. There's some really good games last night. We're going to get some more good games
I think they
tonight.
did last year, didn't they?
I think you're right.
And then didn't win.
I think they started 1-0 and then did not win. Felt like forever. I think you're right, Brett. But it was a really fun night of NBA last night.
It was. Hope Springs Eternal. It's what opening day, opening nights should feel like. What I learned going to be a fun year for the Grizzlies. Let's not examine every single movement of Zach Edey. And let's at least wait until he's playing side by side Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
Anyone that says they can remember Jay Huff at Virginia except for Bryant Dacus, again, I won't call you the L word, liar. I'll just say I don't believe you, but I believe Bryant Dacus.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you at least believe me, because I don't think many people would. But I do. It's shaky, but I do remember some Jay Huff film.
I got nothing.
At Virginia. Well,
I remember Olden Polonice at UVA, but I don't remember Jay Huff.
Well, yes. What I could have done without, speaking of college basketball, it's this news that just came out within the last 30 minutes. Amir Abdur-Rahim has passed away. If you weren't listening at the end of the last segment, the South Florida men's head basketball coach was undergoing a medical procedure earlier today at a Tampa hospital and passed away during that surgery due to complications that arose during that procedure. Only 43 years old, was about to start his second season at South Florida. And everybody remembers that run South Florida went on last year, 25-8, went on a streak where they were just winning game after game, took over a Kennesaw State team in 2019 that went 1-28 in his first year. He turned them all the way around in 4 short years to 26-9. The conference championships of the ASUN, they got into the NCAA tournament. It was so fun what he did at South Florida. I thought was one of my favorite coaches to watch last year. I thought was a young coach that was really going to bloom into a big-time head basketball coach at the college level, and just gone too soon. Extremely sad news.
Yeah, that is, and I know Penny Hardaway will have a statement that should be at any moment. Could have done without, but that's the biggest of the day. But also, now Kent State, the only team without a win in college football. Kennesaw State saved us from Liberty, thank goodness, last night. So glad they're deep off the college football radar now. Laughable they were in the Fiesta Bowl last year.
Yeah, and it was the performance was laughable in that game as well. But now, hey, you don't have to worry about them, and they are definitely out of the running. Where are you beaming tonight?
Acrisure Stadium, seat me right by Beau Marchant at Acrisure, where the Monongahela and the Allegheny meet to form the Ohio Pitt Panthers, 6-0.
Yeah.
One of 9 remaining undefeated teams. They're playing Syracuse, 5-1. Quarterback, great matchup of the weekend, maybe. Kyle McCord against Eli Holstein. Good college football Thursday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good game. Georgia Southern in that the first game of the night. We talked to Coach Tommy West yesterday. His
against
son
Old
on that
Dominion.
staff. That's right. They're on the road, but I believe favored now. They were underdogs early in the day. But being me tonight, Doug Kazarian has me all in on this Boston team tonight.
He's
the Celtics on the road. I'm excited about this game. They'll be on the road tonight in D.C. against the Wizards. We'll see Alex Sarr, who was supposed to be the number 1 pick in the draft, but he said, I don't want to go to Atlanta, so he ended up in Washington. It was not a good night for rookies last night. We'll see if maybe Alex Sarr, maybe some of these other rookies have a good night tonight, but I think that's going to be a really good game right now. Boston, a 13.5-point favorite.
NFL tonight, we have all the action. 5-1 Minnesota at 2-4 Rams at SoFi, the land of stadiums now with Ballmer and Kroenke's buildings. Georgia Southern at Old Dominion. 4 NBA games tonight. Thunder at Denver, really good. That could be Western Conference Finals come May.
Yeah, no, it absolutely could, and so that's going to be a fun game. The doubleheader on TNT tonight, Spurs Mavericks, and then Thunder Nuggets should be a ton of fun. Just so much to watch. I mean, it's becoming that time of year where everything's going at the same time. So enjoy all this action tonight, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.